Welcome, guys, to We Don't Know Ball NFL Draft Recap Edition with Retro, Justin, and myself. How are we doing today?
Awesome. I'm feeling great. I love reviewing drafts.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate the Oklahoma City Thunder on their NBA championship because the season ended last night.
Oh, fuck.
I think Jules has something to say about that.
Yeah,
He can say whatever he wants.
So for the draft recap, just so that we break it down before we get into it, what we're going to do is try to go by alphabetical order for each team, not by draft, like the numerical of the drafts, because people, had the trades and all this kind of stuff. Teams didn't have first round picks. It's just easier just to go from A to Z, and go kind of by there.
I can read them for you if you'd like.
Yeah, by all means, if you want to lead by that. But before we is there anything that we want to talk about prior to the actual recap?
Yeah, holy fucking stupid draft trade night. Like, I don't understand some of these. We got certain teams in the same division helping other teams draft positions they desperately need.
Don't even get me started.
Like, you have teams trading up into spots that doesn't help them. You have teams giving up higher spots that they need to draft with, and they just decide, nah, we're good. I'm just, there's so many things that are confusing. Like, Retro's pissed off. The one that I think screams to everyone else, like, what the fuck are you doing, is Dallas allowing Philly to trade up and take Mekhi Lemon.
And it's like, bro, you guys allegedly are one of the most heated rivalries in the NFL. But like,
you help them every year. Bro. You help them every year.
Dude, it's like, come on, bro. Like, stop. Like, stop pretending that you hate each other. No, you don't.
No, it's literally they just helped Philly in their battle of Pennsylvania. That's literally what just happened. Yeah. They made sure the Steelers couldn't get a receiver.
That's a fact. Memes by Jerry yet again.
So
it's so annoying.
Like, that's the thing is, for me, Dallas potentially could have had like an A- draft. But, like, with the tax of them letting Philly trade into their spot and them trading down, like, it's just going to get taxed for me because, like, they did everything they were supposed to and then they make a bonehead-ass move. It's just funny to me. Yeah. But we'll get to that in a bit. First off, numerically, we have the Arizona Cardinals, who first rounded Jeremiah Love, second round Chase Bezantis, I think is how you say it. Third round, the reach of the draft, and I don't care about the number 12 pick. This is the reach of the draft, Carson Beck. Round 4, they take D-tackle Caleb Proctor. Round 5, receiver Reggie Virgil. Round 6, linebacker Carson Scherer. And round 7, Jaden Williams, O-tackle out of Mississippi. What do we think for Arizona?
Yeah, so I gave Arizona a C-. There's a lot of reasons why I thought this was a little bit of a below-average draft. I think Bezantis is actually probably their best pick. I hate Jeremiah Love at 3, not because I don't think he's going to be good, but because just by drafting him at 3, he now is owed the most guaranteed money in the NFL by a running back by over $10 million. He has $50 million guaranteed. Saquon has $36 million. So Jeremiah Love now has to be better than Saquon Barkley in year 1 in order to meet the worth of his contract, which is impossible. So for me, it's just a complete overpay. Like, I don't like that pick whatsoever.
Yet when the Raiders take G&T last year, it's a good pick for Oakland.
No, exactly. And then Carson Beck is actually just like garbage. Like, I don't like, honestly, I'd rather have Garrett Nussmeier than Carson Beck. Like Carson Beck is just so mid. Caleb Proctor is like, okay, I guess. Reggie Virgil is like, Sherrard's, all these other guys that they picked are just, So for me, it's just a slightly below average draft. I mean, I guess like Bezantis is good and Jeremiah Love has high upside, but it's just like,
I have this as a B, so slightly more than you, Retro. I agree with the Jeremiah Love thing. The APV for the contract and what that is going to outlast value is concerning. You make a good equivalency to the Saquon Barkley stuff. Unless Jeremiah Love becomes rookie Ezekiel Elliott, that's just not going to be
literally.
fucking. It's not gonna. That contract is not going to be worth it. The Carson Beck thing is interesting, Justin, because you said the reach of the draft. I can get behind that because their QB situation as is. It's like, okay, who's gonna run it? It's Carson Beck. Then you probably have, funny enough, James Conner, because like you have nobody. You have nobody. You have a whole bunch of running backs. You have Chase Edmonds. Yeah, and it doesn't even matter because that's still at the end of the day, you're still not going to give targets to fucking Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't give a fuck. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you're going to pick. You hate the guy that you picked at 4 a couple years ago, and you're just going to give it to Jeremiah Love. So it's whatever. I have this as a B because for the NFC West, spoiler alert, I think it's the best draft out of the NFC West, but that was a pretty low bar. So I think it's like Jeremiah is cool, Chase is cool, Carson sucks, everybody else is irrelevant. Like it's
I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. Like, I have this at like an A minus, B plus, and it's strictly on the talent level versus like the needs of the team. Like, yes, they needed a guard. The second round they needed a guard. They do not need a running back, and I think this is a stretch for them to take Love. Granted, he might have been the best player left on the board outside of the edge rusher, but I don't get it when you, like you said, they have 3 running backs that by tandem that they run with, so it doesn't make any sense. So you're paying this guy a rookie max that's about Saquon Barkley level, like you said. You're paying 2 guys more than veteran minimums by a good amount on their contracts. So it doesn't make sense to me. Carson Beck, now, people that follow and like Carson Beck, first off, I don't know if any of you actually exist. Second off, if you do, I don't understand why. This guy was a 7th-man senior at Miami, and they got to the Natty, and it wasn't on his accord. He didn't do anything to get them to the Natty. So
and then if
his game translates to the NFL, so be it. But, like, this dude is already a PR nightmare and hasn't even stepped into your organization. I mean, this dude had cheating scandals in off-field allegations in Miami, and it blew up because he was dating a social media influencer. Shock and awe. But he has cheating allegations. He's not well liked by his teammates, and he's really just not that good of a quarterback, so I just don't understand it. Outside of the Carson Beck pick, a lot of these other ones, like, it was just needs and then taking a best player up. I don't know how or why after drafting Jeremiah Love they didn't try to trade for another spot in the draft, because they could have definitely went and picked and choosed for 2 other picks at the spot. But I don't know. It's weird, but I like it for their team because they took the best available players for what they had, and I mean, they're going to finish last in their division regardless because their team is ran like shit.
That's very true. That team is absolutely
if you guys are good there, we can move on to Atlanta.
He cheated on a Cavender twin. He's a moron.
Yeah, what a moron. And now one is married to Jake Ferguson, and the other is dating some other athlete. So more power.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to Atlanta. Atlanta did not have a first-round pick. Round 2, they took corner Avion Terrell out of Clemson. Round 3, they took receiver Zachariah Branch out of Georgia. Round 4, they took linebacker Kendall Daniels out of Oklahoma. Round 6, they took D-tackle Antario Thompson from Washington. Second pick in round 6, they took linebacker Harold Perkins Jr. from LSU. And round 7, they took tackle Ethan Onaiwa.
Yeah,
How the fuck like you say that out of Ohio State University?
Yeah. So I gave the Falcons a B plus. I actually think they did an amazing job, especially with what they had. They don't even have a first round pick. Avion Terrell, excellent pick for 2 reasons. A, because he was a really good corner at Clemson, and B, because now you're pairing him with his brother. So I love the instant chemistry. Avion and AJ, immediately they've been playing with each other.
I also want to know how he fell this far.
I know. Yeah, this was an excellent value pick, as was Harold Perkins in the 6th round. I can't believe Harold Perkins fell that low. The Falcons, huge W picking him up where they did. Also, Zachariah Branch, excellent receiver. No problem with that. Pair him up with Drake London, absolutely. As far as like Kendall Daniels, I don't really care. Ontario Thompson, I don't really care, but DT was kind of a position of need for them, so sure. Onyanwa, I don't really care either. So by virtue of the fact that I think 3 of their picks were just kind of I have them at a B+, but they did an excellent job with what they had.
Wholeheartedly agree. Just for like the people who don't watch, who don't know, I live here in LA, and Zachariah Branch was a USC guy for a while, and the people who do watch college football here, non-existent, were high on Zachariah Branch before he transferred to Georgia. Zachariah Branch, I think, is a really underrated wide receiver in this draft. That honestly was like a mid wide receiver draft, but Zachariah Branch has, I think, a decent floor. And when you have this offense, now again, it's Tua, right? So it's like, okay, slant route, okay, slant route,
Tua
okay,
and
another
Penix.
slant route.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be like it once they get a new if Penix comes back in and is able to do something, I think there's going to be a good really quad with Bijan, Penix, Drake London, and Zachariah Branch going into your future, because we just don't know where Kyle Pitts is going to go. So I think that was great, and I'm really glad you talked about Harold Perkins, because I've been really high on him out of LSU. I think he's a very physical linebacker. He's a really good athlete coming out. So I think you hit the nail on the coffin. I have this as a B+ as well.
I also have this one at a B+. I think, honestly, Atlanta, what they did here was they threw a Band-Aid over a bullet hole. They picked all the best players for what they needed at each position, and they are just looking to get to next year's quarterback class and potentially just draft their new future quarterback, because they tried it with Penix. They realized, fuck, this guy really isn't it. He's got a strong arm, but he can't do anything else. They trade for Tua to put the bandage over the Penix bullet hole after Kurt goes and signs the ungodly deal in LA or LV. So it's, like I said, they did good for what they needed. I think this was just a holdover draft to get to next year for them.
Yeah. Fair.
Next up, Baltimore.
Yeah.
Round 1, they take Ola Vavega Ione out of Penn State, the guy that we love to talk about in our predictions.
His pronunciation.
Thanks. It's like he's Hawaiian or something.
Yeah. Can I buy a vowel, please? Fuck.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's more like, can I buy a consonant? But yeah. Holy shit. Round 2, edge Zion Young out of Missouri. Round 3, receiver Jacoby Lane out of USC. Round 4, receiver Elijah Sarrett. Back-to-back receivers is still confusing, but hey. Round 4, also tight end Matt Hibner out of SMU. Round 5, corner Chandler Rivers out of Duke. Round 5, tight end Joshua Cuevas, however you want to say it, out of Alabama. Round 5, running back Adam Randall. Round 6, punter Ryan Eckley. Round 7, D lineman Rashawn Benny out of Michigan. Round 7, offensive guard Evan Bierenstein. There should be a vowel there. There's too many consonants back to back in that one. Out of Northwestern. Yeah, interesting for them. They had a lot of fucking draft picks for this draft.
They did. They had a ton.
They got to draft a brand new team.
And that's why I gave the Ravens an A- here. One of the big things for me, because I was a little worried after they took Olavega, because I think he's a great guard, but I was like, okay, are we just going to go another year without getting Lamar any receivers? And thank God, in this extremely loaded receiver class, they decided to get 2 really good receivers. Jacoby Lane was nasty at USC. I actually like Elijah Surratt even more. He was amazing at Indiana. I love both those picks. Those are fantastic. I love the Olavega pick. I think Zion Young is also a monster. Love that pick too. And then basically all these other picks are just really good depth. I like the fact they drafted 2 tight ends. You know, Isaiah Likely's leaving. You kind of have to plan for that. Maybe one of these tight ends pans out a little bit. That could definitely help out. I actually do like the punter pick, ultimately just because, why not? If you need a punter, I mean, you might as well. It's round 6. Who really cares, right?
Yeah.
So I really think they did a great job here, and I think with all these picks, they did a really, really good job making sure to get tons of depth as well as some players with star potential. So that's an A- for me.
I call this a B plus. I like the Leno pick. I like Zion. I like Lane. The only thing that I had somewhat of a concern with, because you bring up a good point, that Isaiah likely leaving Baltimore, so you draft two tight ends. So like if Mark Andrews does Mark Andrews things, you got other people to go to. The one criticism I will say is that with Jesse Minter coming in, they only really added two defensive guys that I think could probably start for them, and that the Baltimore's defense was the eyesore that it was last year. I think that they needed to to get with like just finding another persistent impactful defensive player. I think Zion can do it, but I would have liked more depth on the defensive side with Jesse Minter being there. They just addressed going helping Lamar, which again isn't a bad thing. But Jesse Minter is going to then form this defense, and getting somebody that can be transformative for Jesse Minter, just having this weapon with Kyle Hamilton would be very, very advantageous going down the stretch. So that's my only criticism. And again, that's it's nitpicky. So it's like you when you do these draft day grades, you're going to have to do something like that. I think it's a really good draft. So like I would have just leaned a little bit more towards defense with Jesse Minter at the helm, so you have a little bit more flexibility of what he's going to be running on that defense going into this year.
I also gave it a B plus, and the only reason I didn't give it an A is because I really wish, like Retro said, that they would have done things to help Lamar a little bit more. And I don't mean at the receiver spot, I mean just a little bit more protection, because we all know that Lamar's best weapon is his legs. If he has more time to see what's going on downfield and there's nothing there, then he can take off. But we don't ever get to see Lamar as a pocket passer, so that's why everyone heavily critiques him, and that's why a lot of us really don't like the way he plays, is because it's 2 seconds, oh shit, nothing's open, I'm going. So I wish they would have drafted probably more line help and line depth to learn going forward. Ion's going to probably start off the jump just because they need the help. Like you said, Zion Young is fitting into this defense, and they were terrible last year, don't get me wrong, but I think that's a coaching issue. Yeah. I think the schemes were significantly just off for them last year. We talk about it all the time, they have a Pro Bowl defense. Like, they literally do. And now they have Nagata coming back. They have their team healthy, and they have a new defensive-minded coach. So this will be interesting. The two receiver picks in the third and fourth round, like Retro said, this was a loaded receiver draft. You're getting Indiana's, I believe, number 2 receiver. He was basically Mendoza's number 1 target, but he was the number 2 receiver.
Yes.
So it'll be nice to see if he can get some work at this level with not the same style quarterback, but a strong arm quarterback. So he'll get the work. Like you said, the 2 tight ends are a great thing with likely leaving. Mark Andrews being known football terrorist Mark Andrews. His fall off genuinely needs to be studied. I don't understand that. Chandler Rivers is going to slot in nicely as a 4th or 5th corner on this team, even though he's a 5th round pick. The corner depth is what the Ravens really need. They're very heavily stacked at their 1 and 2 for corners. They just don't have the depth to be able to flex people around as much. So adding that's going to help their secondary out. The running back, Adam Randall, I don't know if this dude will ever see a snap in the NFL, to be honest with you. They're going to ride Derrick Henry as far as he can go, and by then they'll be probably having a draft pick at a higher level, drafting the next best running back in the next 4 to 5 years. So the punter pick, we always love a good special teams pick, obviously. We probably are the special teams merchants. You know how much I harp on kickers, and Retro always has to give a punter credit for doing his job, crazily enough. But, yeah, good draft for them. They drafted so many players, so their practice squad's going to be fucking loaded. Yeah. On to Buffalo. Buffalo did not have a first-round pick, but had 2 second-round picks. Second round edge TJ Parker out of Clemson. Second round pick corner Davidson Igbinosun out of Ohio State. Yeah,
Sure.
whatever. Fucking names nowadays. Round 4 offensive tackle Jude Bowery out of Boston College. Round 4 receiver Skylar Bell out of UConn. Round 4 linebacker Caleb Elams Orr out of TCU. Round 5 DB Jalon Kilgore out of South Carolina. Round 5 D tackle Zane Durant. Round 7 corner Toriano Pride out of Missouri. Round 7 punter Tommy Doman out of Florida. Round 7 guard Armaj Reed Adams out of Texas A&M.
Yeah. I gave this draft a B. I thought it was above average. I think that TJ Parker's a good pick. I think he has star level upside. I think Skylar Bell has star level upside, and I love the fact that they decided to put more weapons around Josh Allen. I think Jalen Kilgore is a huge sleeper. I think it's huge for them that he dropped to round 5. I think he's very good. Outside of that, though, this honestly is just like, it's like, okay. Like, I don't know. They give you a lot of depth. I love a punter pick, but it's just like, ultimately, at the end of the day, I just feel like with all of these picks, I kind of expect a little bit more upside, a little bit more like the Ravens. The Ravens, I think, did a lot better with their large amount of picks and picking a large upside. That being said, though, I still think it's above average. That's why I have them at B. I like that they have some star upside. I think it's solid. I just feel like it could have been a lot better.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I have this as a B minus, and my guy Iggy from Ohio State. It's like you talk about it really well. Is that like it's a whole bunch of draft picks that have like star potential, but it's not like everything that's like something needs to happen. And why I'm going to talk about like Iggy really quick is because he led the Big Ten in defensive holding penalties, and he was just like really rough around the corner edges and that kind of stuff. So it's like he has some potential, but he has to be worked on. But this Buffalo Bills defense sucked dick. Like there's nothing that we don't know what they're going to look for coming next year. That's going to be the concern with Buffalo. And it's like where Buffalo is headed. It's like, cool, you clearly drafted for defense, but a whole bunch of defenders that don't have the biggest upside. So it's like you kind of just threw yourselves out there. You know what I mean? So I just wasn't the biggest fan of everything that they did because I just don't know what direction that they're going to be with a whole bunch of their mid-round picks. It was just like meh to me.
I'm a little indifferent with you guys. I actually think this is an A. And here's why. You guys look at the player, I look at the team need. And every single pick that they made here is a team need, desperate need on this team. On defense, outside of Greg Rousseau, I feel like all 10 other players could have their jobs on the line. So for me, them drafting defensive heavily while getting 2 linemen to rotate in on Josh Allen's line to give more protection to James Cook, who already had a good year running. And I mean, I'm pretty sure he was close to leading the league of yards after contact for running backs. So if they can get a little more protection for him and open holes a little wider, who knows what he can do? Not to mention Josh Allen having a decent rushing year for Josh Allen level. So the way that their offense is schemed up, if this can go the way it goes, plus getting the receiver help, I think they did perfectly in this draft. Like you said, Jules, players struggle in college. Some of them struggle in college and they put it together in the NFL. So it's a very big toss-up. But by what the team needed versus the actual player, they drafted everything they needed, and I'm pretty sure they took every best player available at the time.
I think that's fair.
Moving on to Carolina, round 1, offensive tackle Monroe Freeling out of Georgia. Round 2, D tackle Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech. Round 3, receiver Chris Brazel II out of Tennessee. Round 4, cornerback Will Lee III out of Texas A&M. Round 5, center Sam Hecht out of Kansas State. Round 5, safety Zakee Wheatley out of Penn State. and round 7 linebacker Jackson Kuach out of Miami, Ohio.
Yeah, so I gave this one a B minus. I think it's again slightly above average. I think Monroe Freeling's a good pick. I think he has star potential. I think Brazell has star potential, but I don't know if he'll ever meet it because he's a Tennessee receiver, and outside of Stallworth, Tennessee receivers are notoriously mid. But I don't know, there's a possibility. Outside of that, it's like Lee Hunter is okay. Will Lee is okay. Sam Hecht is okay. I understand that like they're drafting, like a center to protect Bryce, and you're drafting some a corner. You're getting a DT to help beef up the defense. I get it, and that's why I have it slightly above average because I get like drafting for position that you need. But ultimately, I just feel like it's a very draft. I do like I said, that's why I have it like slightly above average. I still think it's okay.
Yeah. I have this as a C plus because outside the Monroe pick, I don't think they drafted much for like team need because my biggest thing for Carolina, outside of offensive line was getting a consistent pass rusher. I don't think they just didn't address that. Like I think Lee Hunter is cool as an interior lineman, but he never really provided a consistent pass rush on that Texas Tech team. So it's like, cool, you got somebody that's going to probably replace what's his name, what's his Ekem, in the oncoming years for the tackle position for Carolina. But like outside of that, to me, it's a lot of, again, a lot of meh. I just don't like the high end potential of a lot of the stuff that Carolina did. I think they just needed a pass rusher. They just didn't get that.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree to that. My biggest thing with it is here, especially for Carolina and Carolina alone, I gave it a C because, like I said, I think it's severely mid. I think they missed on one key point here that they just didn't hit on. You addressed, like you said, they needed edge rusher, and they took another defensive tackle. Where is the tight end pick here? Where is the safety blanket for Bryce? That should have been for me like their number one. I need this. You need offensive lineman and a tight end. They needed to get him a safety blanket. So for me, this is honestly a waste of time because their defense is average to above average. I mean, look at what they did against the Rams twice last year. Their defense was able to hold. So I didn't see the defensive need for this team. But at the same time, like I said, I feel like they just severely missed on key points. Which, by the way, I just want to let you guys know, NFL.com rated this an A- for them. They said, listen to this, grades by the day. Day 1 an A, day 2 a B+, day 3 an A-.
All right, sure, bro.
Fucking weird. On to the Chicago Bears.
Bears.
Round 1, safety Dylan Theinman out of Oregon. Round 2, center Logan Jones out of Iowa. Round 3, tight end Sam Roush out of Stanford. Round 3, receiver Xavier Thomas out of LSU. Round 4, cornerback Malik Muhammad out of Texas. Round 5, linebacker Keyshawn Elliott out of Arizona State. Round 6, D tackle Jordan Vandenberg, holy fucking Dutch name, out of Georgia Tech.
Yeah, so I also have this at a B-. I think that Dylan Tianneman was a great pick. I think he was great for Oregon, no problem there. I think Logan Jones is just kind of weird. He's really good at run protection, but he's like not good at pass protection. So I guess like they're kind of trying to lock in more on the run game, which is fine. I get that. You have a good running back duo, but I don't know. I mean, I figured you'd want a little bit more protection.
They have a good running back, and then somebody else is just kind of hanging on for his life.
Listen, I think it's a good duo, but the problem is like
as the Bears stand on this podcast, it's not.
And then you've got
one guy and then that other guy. That's what it is.
Well, that's fair enough. Then you've got Sam Roush, which again, it's like, okay, I get it. He's a blocking tight end, but you already have Colston, who's the main receiving tight end, and 2 tight end sets are mid. Honestly, like I just feel like this is kind of an pick. Xavier Thomas is Malik Muhammad is actually a really good sleeper pick. I'm big on Malik Muhammad. I think they did a good job to pick him up this late in the draft. Outside of this, it just feels like a bunch of But like I said, I like the upside of Tiananmen. I like the upside of Malik Muhammad, and I like the fact that they're trying to get a little bit more blocking involved, I guess. So a B- to me, maybe even a little generous. Maybe C+ is more fair, but B- is what I gave.
This is where I disagree. I have this as an A-. I love Thielen. Outside of Caleb Downs, he's definitely the best safety in this draft. Logan Jones, you bring up a good point, is a good run blocker. Isn't the best in pass protection, but as a center out of Iowa, I don't really care, right?
He'll figure it out.
He'll figure it out. Literally. So my thing is why I said the A- stuff is because I completely agree with the Malik Muhammad pick, but the late round picks of Keyshawn Elliott and Jordan Vanberg as these guys who I believe Vanberg is from like South Africa or something like that, and he went to Georgia Tech. It's like these late round guys who are really, really good athletes end up always turning out to be like a really good, impactful player. And he's probably not going to start, but if he makes some type of reps, he's a really, really good athlete. I just love athletes in any sport, and I think he can be impactful for this front seven for Chicago, and to solidify that pass rush, because he probably can move outside for them, to be honest with you. And then pairing Dylan with Kobe Bryant on your back ends, with Jalen Johnson now coming back, that's going to solidify your secondary. So I think this is just a really underrated draft for Chicago, and I think they made a lot of very solid late round picks that it was moved by.
I agree with Jules. I have this at an A-, and the other reason it's not an A is because of that third round pick. You, like Retro said, you have Colston Loveland, but you also have Cole Kmet. There's no point to draft this guy when you have two certifiable number one tight ends on your team when you should have been looking for an edge rusher. I was waiting for – you can add the D tackle, like you said, Jules. Freak athletes always pan out somehow, some way. But third round, you could have taken the best edge rusher on the board and let him work into a three-man rotation with their ends on either side, whichever one you wanted him to work off of. But it just doesn't make sense to me why you take another tight end who is literally just going to be a practice squad guy for probably his entire career. So it just doesn't make – that one doesn't make sense to me. Like you said, Dylan was clear-cut the second best safety in the draft for them to take him number one to bolster their secondary, which is already good. It just helps their team a shit ton.
Yeah, I'm notoriously tough on my rankings, so it's going to be hard to get too high for me.
That's fine. To the team that probably needed to do the most in this draft to protect their asset, Joe Burrow. Boy, oh boy. The Cincinnati Bengals did not have a first-round pick. Nice. Round 2 took edge Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M, defensive player. Round 3 took cornerback Terreko Davis out of Washington, defensive player. Round 4 took center Connor Lew out of Auburn. Great. Round 4 took receiver Colby Young. Round 6 took offensive tackle Brian Parker II out of Duke. Round 7 took tight end Jack Endries out of Texas. And round 7 took D-tackle Landon Robinson out of Navy.
Yeah. So I gave the Bengals a C. This draft is very interesting. So the Bengals last year picked was just there was an award that was given to him by a news outlet, the worst pick in the draft last year, Shamar Stewart. So the Bengals, of course, learned and picked another defensive end out of Texas A&M. Congratulations. I think that Howell is less talented than Shamar Stewart. I think he's okay. Like he's probably a little more productive, but it's like, I guess. All right. It's fine. Takario Davis, I'm fine with. It's okay. Whatever. I like that at least they're adding to the defense, a defensive end and a defensive back. It's a good start. Connor Lew, they drafted a center. I think that's solid. I'm okay with that. You want to protect Burrow. Why are we drafting a receiver? Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
In an already clogged receiver room, let's add another one.
That confuses me. Brian Parker is actually also low-key hilarious because while some people have him listed as an offensive tackle, his primary position that he likes to play is center. So effectively, the Bengals drafted two centers. They drafted Connor Lew in the 4th round, and they drafted Brian Parker in the 6th. I guess you can move him to OT, but what's even the point? Because again, I get wanting to protect Joe Burrow, but this guy, I feel like he would work better at a center position anyway. It just feels kind of redundant. I don't know why we're drafting Jack Andrews. I don't know why we need a tight end. We really don't. That's not what we need. And I guess a defensive tackle is fine. But it's just this draft just felt so mid. The only reason why I'm giving it a C is because at least they did kind of draft for need. A defensive end, defensive back, a center, a guy that can play offensive tackle, a DT, all of that's position of need. So I'll at least grant them that. But a C is generous, and you could go lower, and I would not mind.
I said a C plus. I shit you not. I have no notes for this because I literally said you drafted out of the first round. You got rid of your first round pick for Dexter Lawrence. That's it. I don't even care what you did in the draft because it was already dog shit. So you're not being the only thing you can out of this is that cool. You got Dexter Lawrence, but you give up the 10th overall pick to the Giants. That's literally it. I did not know. I did not do anything because this is what I predicted is that, we're not going to help Joe Burrow at all and just draft defense because that defense is dog shit. Guess what? That's exactly what they did. So it's okay, cool. You got Dexter Lawrence. I even though that's not a draft day trade, I'm counting that as a draft day trade. It's fucking Dexter Lawrence.
Yep, I'm literally agreeing with Jules. This is a D plus for me, and the only reason it's a D plus is because with the 10th overall pick, you drafted Dexter Lawrence. That is why it's not an F. Just funnily enough, retro again, I think you'll find this funny. NFL.com, grade B, day 1 B, day 2 A, day 3 C plus.
They could have just said, "You got Dexter Lawrence. Move on." That's it.
That was when I remember going back through the notes or whatever. It literally said, "You got Dexter Lawrence," so that's the plus, and that's kind of the only thing I remember out of it. So I thought it was funny.
Literally.
Yeah. Well, Texas and the bungle's gonna bungle every time.
Yep. We're the Cleveland Browns.
The Cleveland Browns.
Yes.
Round 1, offensive tackle Spencer Fano out of Utah. Also round 1, receiver KC Concepcion out of Texas A&M. Round 2, receiver Denzel Boston out of Washington. Round 2, safety Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo. Round 3, offensive tackle Austin Barber out of Florida. Round 5, center Parker Brazelford out of Alabama. Round 5, linebacker Justin Jefferson, here we go again, out of Alabama. Round 5, tight end Joe Rover out of Cincinnati. Round 6, quarterback Taylon Green out of Arkansas. Round 7, tight end Carson Ryan out of BYU.
Yeah. So I cannot believe I'm saying this, and I'm so happy to be saying it. This is an A. This is an A draft, ladies and gentlemen. The Cleveland Browns have woken up from their slumber, and they have remembered how to draft people. This is so nice looking at because of whatever the Bengals were. Spencer Fano, beautiful pick. Love it. Get you a great offensive tackle. You need protection. If Shedeur is ever going to be anything, he will only be able to do it behind an amazing offensive line.
Deshaun Watson.
Or Deshaun Watson. Yeah, that too. Next pick, Casey Concepcion. Awesome. Yes, get yourself a receiver. Beautiful. Love it. Denzel Boston, another receiver. Great receiver. Fantastic. Yes. The pick 58, Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Arguably a top 2 safety in the draft. I have him at 3rd, but he is definitely an excellent pick. No problem with that whatsoever. Austin Barber, offensive tackle. Yes, protect the quarterback. They also got a center, the next pick. Protect the quarterback. Love it. The linebacker, Justin Jefferson, whatever, I guess. He has a funny name.
We're just here for Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson memes now.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, the Joe Rover, the tight end guy, it's fine, I guess. I don't really have anything to that. Talon Green, awesome, amazing pick. This actually might be their best pick, and the reason why is because your quarterback room is trash. So one of two things happens: either Talon Green is just an athletic freak, and you like switch his position or whatever, or B, he actually is really good at quarterback and was just being hindered because he was playing at Arkansas. In which case, you get an amazing quarterback for a 6th-round pick and a 6th-round salary. So awesome. And then Carson Ryan is I don't really care. Ultimately, just a beautiful draft. Drafting for need and getting stars. Tons of star potential here. Love it. Thank you, Cleveland. God bless. Thank you.
Yeah, the first 4 picks were out of this world amazing for Cleveland standards. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is such a good safety. I don't have him as my second best, but like there's an argument. Like you said, he's really good out of Toledo. They drafted everything of need, and they did everything that they could to go and protect whoever is taking snaps behind center, whether it's Shador or Watson or even Talon Green. They did a fantastic job being able to address everything, and everybody has high upside. So hopefully the Browns don't be the Cleveland Browns for once.
Yeah.
I'm very moved by this draft. This is really, really good for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, you guys basically touched on everything. I give it an A as well. The only thing I want to tag along on Retro's thing about Talon Green, I see Talon Green for this team being used like a Taysom Hill type, just to use his big athletic body. They can run a lot of fake QB draws out of it with him because his arm is pretty solid. So I'm excited to see what the Browns can do. I really hope they didn't waste 2 picks on receivers while not having the ability to throw the ball downfield, but hey, good luck. Moving on to Dallas.
Yeah. Ew.
What a bunch of fucking idiots. Congratulations. You did win the Caleb Downs lottery.
Yeah.
Round 1, pick 11, safety Caleb Downs out of Ohio State. Round 1, edge Malachi Lawrence out of UCF. Round 3, edge Jyshawn Barham out of Michigan. Round 4, offensive tackle Drew Sheldon out of Penn State. Round 4, cornerback Devin Moore out of Florida. Round 4, D lineman LT Overton out of Alabama. Round 7, receiver Anthony Smith out of East Carolina.
Yeah, so I gave my arch rivals a B on this draft. I think it was above average, but the thing is, like, I feel like people kind of blow it, because the Caleb Downs thing, yeah, but outside of that, I guess Malachi Lawrence is okay, but he's kind of a risk because he's a UCF guy, and, you know, UCF is not exactly known for having high caliber players. I still think he'll be very good. I just don't know if it's
You don't like Central Florida?
Yeah, it's just like Jyshawn Barham is okay, but it feels kind of redundant because you've already drafted you've got Malachi Lawrence, who's a DN. You draft LT Overton later on, also a DN. You've drafted 3 DNs here. I feel like you kind of just overdid it pretty heavily. I guess I'm okay with Drew Shelton. You want to protect Dak, I guess that's fine, but he's not like a great offensive tackle. Devin Moore, that's a great pick because they need a corner desperately because their corner core is garbage. So that's fine. But like the thing is, it's just ultimately it's like, yeah, I guess like the only people I think have like actual star potential here are Caleb Downs and Malachi Lawrence. But like outside of that, it just kind of feels So, but I still think, like I said, I still think it's above average for sure, which is why I gave it a B. I just feel like it could have probably been a lot better.
For whoever stole Jerry's phone and told them to go and trade up and told them to put in the Caleb Downs pick because Jerry was distracted with some Dallas cheerleaders. Thank you. I don't know what you were doing because this is not a Jerry Jones pick. This is just not a Jerry Jones pick. There's no way in hell you're going to convince me that Jerry Jones, 1, knows Caleb Downs' name because of what happened last year, and then 2, was smart enough to even realize that Caleb Downs was on the board. So whoever stole your phone, whoever stole it, congratulations. You got by far the biggest, my biggest glazer. Caleb Downs is a fucking cowboy. That is insane. Malachi Lawrence stuff, I disagree. I do think that they're bolstering, like, I think we're going to see this Dallas defense actually be good. outside the secondary stuff, which I agree with, their front seven is going to be legit. Malachi Lawrence and Bradham are going to be just rotational players on that front seven who's going to get to the quarterback like a motherfucker. And now you have Caleb Downs on the back because Caleb is one of the smartest players that I have ever seen, and he's going to be able to literally tell everybody where to go as a 23, 24-year-old guy, be like, yeah, you guys are ass, this is what we need to do, and so on and so forth. So that's my thing.
I gave Dallas a B plus, and the only reason it's not an A minus is because of their fucking trade with Philly. That just still the most confusing thing in the world to me. Retro, I don't understand why you're so confused about the back-to-back edge picks for the simple fact that when they traded for Quinnen Williams last year, they looked good for a whole week, and they ended up having to start Jadeveon Clowney at one point. So they are hurting for those pieces. This is two young guys who are not elite on their own, but I think that Quinnen Williams might give the quote-unquote Micah Parsons effect for these two to become accessible in this defense. Like Jules said, their front seven was very inconsistent and very wishy-washy throughout the year. We already know that their secondary fucking blows, and now they have Caleb Downs to tell these guys, stay in your fucking position, guard that guy, and we'll be okay. So I think they did phenomenal here. I think they drafted for pieces they need. They got another offensive tackle, which is a good thing for them because, as we've known in the past, Dallas's offensive lines have just been generational. So bolstering it to try to get back to where they were is just a good thing. Like I said, if they would have just not traded with Philly, it would have been damn near a perfect draft for Dallas.
Yeah.
Moving on to Denver. Denver did not have a first or second round pick in this draft. Third round defensive tackle Tyler Onyedum out of Texas A&M. By the way, a lot of A&M guys going in this draft. Like their whole team felt like they got drafted.
And I'm pretty sure the entire OSU defense got drafted.
OSU defense, Texas Tech defense, Texas A&M defense, and a lot of Washington guys out of this one. Not a lot of Washington guys normally get picked up, but round 4 running back Jonah Coleman out of Washington. Round 4 offensive guard Cage Casey out of Boise State. Round 5 tight end Justin Jolie out of NC State. Round 7 safety Miles Scott out of Illinois. Round 7 tight end Dalen Bentley out of Utah. Round 7 linebacker Red Murdoch out of Buffalo. Also, just want to say this when I saw his name flash across my screen. If Red Murdoch doesn't scream that I should be the best linebacker in football just as a name alone, I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, so I gave the Broncos a C+. I kind of adjusted a little bit for the situation. The thing is, when you don't have a first and you don't have a second, it's kind of hard to get people of like huge name value, which is fine. But they did draft a ton of people, and I think they drafted a lot of depth. My only real criticism is like 3 tight ends. Like, do we really need 3 tight ends? Like, I don't. I guess but it's just like it feels kind of extra to me.
It's only 2.
Sorry. They Joe Royer for some reason was here. So yeah, still 2 tight ends feels a little extra to me anyway. But like it's cool. Like I get it. I see why. But like ultimately I'm just like, it's just okay. There's no star value, it's just So that's why I have it at a C+. I still think it's slightly above average just because with the picks that they had, I think they made good work of it, but it's just, they didn't really have much to work with.
Yeah, they didn't have much to work with. They had a limited amount of picks. They didn't start drafting until basically the second day in the third round. I think Tyler is going to be a good replacement for homeboy Jonathan Franklin Myers, right? Because didn't he leave, if I'm not mistaken?
I think so.
So it's like, and then Coleman is going to be a good piece for them as a rotational running back. But like, yeah, I'm in agreement. It's just like you could do only what you could do with the trades that you did with Waddle and all this kind of stuff. So you're limited. I have this as a C+, and this isn't just like a knock on what they drafted. You could only just do so much, and that's kind of the ceiling. Like their ceiling was probably a B, but it's like you did what you could. I think you did well.
I think you guys hit the nail on the head there. I gave this a B minus, and the only reason I do is because I will credit that the first round 30th overall pick for them is Jalen Waddle. So I have to credit that they bolstered the receiving core a little bit. I counted as part of the draft for them. That's the only note I really have on this one. Like you said, they drafted for depth. They didn't have a first or second round pick, but they turned their first round pick at the 30 spot into Jalen Waddle, who was arguably the actual number one in Miami. So we can take that with the grain of salt that it is. Like you said, Franklin Myers departing, it is what it is. They took Coleman with the 4th round draft pick that was acquired from New Orleans for receiver Devon Villay. So they did good, but it's not great. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Detroit Lions. Round 1, offensive tackle Blake Miller out of Clemson. Round 2, edge Derek Moore out of Michigan. Round 4, linebacker Jimmy Reuter out of Michigan. Round 5, cornerback Keith Aveney II, Arizona State. Round 5th, receiver Kendrick Law out of Kentucky. Round 6, D-tackle Skylar Gill Howard out of Texas Tech. Round 7, D-tackle Tyree West out of Tennessee.
Yeah, I gave this one a B minus. I think that basically all these guys are at least positions of need outside of Kendrick Law. Don't really think you need another receiver, but I guess it could never hurt. But it's just like outside of Blake Miller, who I don't even know is going to be that good, I really just don't see any star potential here. Like, I think that it's good that you fill positions of need. I think that's always a good thing. But it just doesn't really feel like they have anything special here. And so that's why I have them at a B minus. I just think it's kind of, it's above average. It's all right, but it could be better.
I have this as a C plus because Detroit Lions, please stop using University of Michigan guys as a pipeline for your fucking team. Outside of Aiden Hutchinson, there hasn't been fucking dick all that has done anything for your team. Please stop thinking that Michigan has generational fucking talent.
It's cool to keep guys at home. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It is, but at the same time, you're then like Derek Moore. No, don't care. Jimmy Roller. No, don't care. Like there's just better. There were probably way better picks at that time that you could have done for need. Like actually drafting a way better tackle because Blake Miller sucks. I'm not high on Blake Miller whatsoever. Like you could have done a whole bunch of stuff, and it's just this is the downward trend of Detroit. It's you didn't have a good draft now, and you're going into next year with a year of Chicago and Green Bay probably going to run the fucking division, and you didn't do fucking dick all to help your offense. You didn't do dick all to help your defense.
Yeah, don't forget about MVP candidate Kyler Murray.
But it's just mid. Detroit's just on a downward trend. I just don't like what they did. I just don't.
I give it a B minus along with Retro, and the only reason why is Detroit's defense lacked a lot last year, and it looks like that was their primary focus going into the draft. I agree with Jules that using your home university as a pipeline isn't always the greatest thing. But if they got to see them the most out of anybody, and that's who they scouted because they were basically right down the road from them, and they saw value in them and thought they could help their defense, so be it. But like I said, they drafted a whole bunch of defensive young guys that, I'll be honest with you, all the way down to their 7th round pick will probably get rotational minutes because of how bad the defense played last year. And with Aiden back to be able to throw them in with new schemes with Aiden, it might actually free them up to actually get name relevancy. So, but hey, they drafted an edge, which means they're not going to trade for a second one.
Yeah, there you go.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Uh-oh is right. Green Bay. Didn't have a first round pick. Round 2, good for them. They addressed the corner situation. Brandon Sissy out of South Carolina. Round 3, D-tackle Chris McClellan out of Missouri. Round 4, edge Danny Dennis Sutton out of Penn State. Penn State really loves their fucking 3-name players, don't they?
They do.
Round 5 center Yeager Burton out of Kentucky. Round 6 corner Damani Jackson out of Alabama. Round 6 kicker Trey Smack out of Florida.
Yeah. So I gave the Packers a B minus. Again, I about the same as the Lions. Think it's okay. I think Brandon Siss is a great corner. He's going to be really good. I think McClellan is actually a very solid DT, and I think they did really good to get him here because I think this is really good value. Outside of that, it's kind of like cool. You got a guard, that's good. It's always good to have more interior help. You got a corner, I like that. It's always good to have more corner help. And I think Trey Smack is a really good kicker.
They drafted a kicker with your name, so you can glaze it for a little bit. Go ahead.
Well, and hey, listen, why not draft a kicker, right? You know, like Justin, I know you're a kicker guy. Why not draft a kicker? It's the 6th round. Who cares?
That's the thing is, like, he was super solid last year for Florida. Like,
he was.
And Green Bay, for some reason, and this is going to be some holy pull, outside of Ryan Longwell and Mason Crosby, for the last 6-ish years, they've just been rough. They have rotated kickers and punters like we change underwear every day. So Green Bay definitely needed the help with something. Why not take a rookie and see what he can do, you know?
Yeah, and that's basically my thought process is I think Trey Smack is a big name, and I actually think he's very solid. So I don't have any problem with that. I think the Packers did very solid here. Like I said, just B- for me, same thing as the Lions.
I mean, speaking of like names that should fit their fucking position, Trey Smack should be howling 70-yarders.
Right down the middle.
Literally. I was like kind of indifferent about this. I got this as a B- because like we talked about, Brandon is going to immediately come in as probably their slot guy. I'll probably work a little bit of nickel and help them where they need best. But they obviously just tried to address their defense as much as possible, which I think was what you needed to do. But a lot of the guys that they drafted, I just wasn't like the biggest on. It's like, okay, they kind of similar to who we were talking about a couple picks ago. The who is it? Not the Bengals. Who was it? The Panthers or something like that? No, the Bills. I had very similar things to where it's just like, okay, you had good upside, but how are you going to be then produced in a system where you are going to have to heavily rely on Micah Parsons getting you the most production of what you can do? It's cool. It's cool. You know, it's cool.
I'll give Green Bay credit where credit's due. I'll give them a B+ because outside of Green Bay, there weren't many teams that just only drafted positions that they actually needed help in. And you guys know how much I hate the Packers and will tax the Packers on everything they do.
No, I didn't know. Thank you.
They literally, to me, are the only team that drafted positions that they actually need help at. And if these guys don't pan out, so be it. But I like where the thought process was on draft night for Green Bay to actually address their problems in the secondary. Since Jair left, they've really just been kind of a shell. They just need the help. And like I said, they acquired Micah, but like if there's nobody to play behind Micah Parsons, if a quarterback gets off a pass, who's going to do anything about it? So them addressing the secondary help, getting a center, and like I said, gambling on a kicker in the 6th round when there really isn't much to like value pick in the 6th round, why not? So
yeah, fair.
The Houston Texans, a team that really needed some help.
Your Houston Texans.
Nobody's Houston Texans. Davis Mills is Houston Texans. Round 1, offensive guard Keelan Rutledge out of Georgia Tech. Round 2, D-tackle Caden McConnell out of Ohio State. Round 2, tight end Marlon Klein out of Michigan. Round 4, offensive guard Fabechi Nowewu out of Oklahoma. Round 4, linebacker Wade Woodaz out of Clemson. Round 5, safety Kamari Ramsey out of USC. Round 6, receiver Lewis Bond out of Boston College. Round 7, linebacker Aiden Fisher out of Indiana.
Yeah. So I gave the Texans a C+ here. I think it could probably be a little lower, and I could see why. But basically, I was watching the first 2 rounds, and I was like, okay, Keelan Rutledge, it's a great pick, love it, protect Stroud, get you a guard, sure. And then they drafted Caden McDonald, and I was like, great, yes, he's a really good defensive tackle, I like that. But after this, I was kind of like, like, you drafted tight end from Michigan. I guess you kind of need a tight end, but it's like, who really cares that much? I would have much rather taken an offensive tackle. And then for the rest of the draft, you don't get anything outside of the guard that you get from Oklahoma. You don't get any offensive tackles. I would have liked to see a little bit more like help inside for CJ Stroud, given how terrible this O-line has been. And instead, you just draft for defense for some reason. Apparently, even though your defense was top 3 in the league last year, you decide to get 2 linebackers and a safety because why? I don't know why. I guess Lewis Bond out of Boston College is also whatever, but I really don't think you need a receiver that badly. Why are we not taking offensive tackles and why are we drafting defense? I don't know. But because I can see the star value in both Rutledge and McDonald, and because I can kind of see the mindset, you've got another guard here that they took, which I like, and a tight end is a position of need, I give him the benefit of the doubt. I give him a C+, but I could see it going lower.
Yeah, I agree. The first 2 rounds for Caden and Kalen are great. Marlon Klein pick, I'm more moved on because it's like Dalton Schultz is getting a little bit older, and Cade Stover looked like to be the new connection for CJ, as they're both Ohio State guys. So Kalen, as a U Michigan blocking tight end, could give you that kind of like usage. So I'm fine with that pick, but I'm in agreement. It's like this defense was otherworldly with D'Amico. So it's like, why then? Like, you can draft the young guys, which is cool to get replacements, but your need is offensive line. Your need is a healthy wide receiver. Your need is somebody that isn't 100 years old at running back. So it's like you have a whole bunch of needs on that offense, and you can't address them overall. But you just basically don't address them at all. Like, again, like getting the guards is cool, but you need blindside protection. You're going to need somebody, if Nico is going to be injury prone, to get you out, give you a secure, not even a security blanket, just somebody trustworthy to give for CJ Stroud. And with Tank Dell also being hurt, it's like, okay, who's going to be that guy? Not Lewis Bond out of Boston. Yeah. It's not. So I have this as a C, as a draft grade.
That's fair. I gave it a B, and here's why I give it a B, and this is the only reason I give it a B. Jules, you brought up the why do they needed to address the 100-year-old running back bullshit. They kind of did that. You got to remember they traded their 3rd round pick for this year last year for Woody Marks. So that was kind of the address there. So they turned their 3rd round pick into Woody Marks, which not ideal, but he is a young running back, and the trade for David Montgomery this year. So their running back room should be fine. They have 5 guys to make something work. If they can't figure it out from that point, so be it. That's on them. That's just my only really talking point on it. Like you said, the defense was top 5, top 3 if you really want to get nitpicky. Adding the D tackle just to bolster a little bit, maybe get the young guy in, use him. But yeah, like I said, the 3rd round pick being Woody Marks off of last year is perfectly fine to me, addressing the quote unquote running back issue. But moving on to Indy. Indy also did not have a 1st round pick. Round 2, linebacker CJ Allen out of Georgia. Round 3, safety AJ Hawsley out of LSU. Round 4, guard Jalen Farmer out of Kentucky. Round 4, linebacker Bryce Bochere, however you want to say it, out of Oregon. Round 5, edge George Gums Jr. out of Florida. Round 6, edge Caden Curry out of Ohio State. Round 7, running back Seth McGowan out of Kentucky. Round 7, receiver Deion Burks out of Oklahoma.
Yeah, I gave this one a C-. I think the CJ Allen pick is good. He is a defensive player out of Georgia, which means he's automatically good at football. And then outside of
an Eagle.
Yeah. And then I think Bryce Betcher is a decent backer out of Oregon. I don't mind that. And then I think Deion Burks is a really, really good value pick. I think he's a potential sleeper. Outside of that, everything else is mid. It's actually just like there's like 3 decent picks, and then everything else is just below average. So that's why I gave it a C minus, because I honestly think ultimately it's below average. I think this is just such. I like, and we're gonna get to them next. But it takes a lot to have a lot of picks and do a whole lot of mid/nothing with it. And the Colts, yeah, C minus.
I disagree. I have this as a B. CJ Allen, absolutely. Linebacker out of Georgia, sign me up. Right.
Yeah.
They're similar to what I was talking about a little bit before. The Indy's late round picks really like intrigued me a lot. I'm a huge Caden Curry fan, being able to watch him. Caden Curry has a very high motor, very underrated guy. Gion Burks out of Oklahoma, even though he's going to be a slot guy for them. He's going to open up space for whoever the fuck is QB for the Indianapolis Colts next year. But regardless, regardless, I think Deion Burks is a really underrated 7th round pick. Him and Alec Pierce are going to be a very they're going to be able to stretch the field for underneath routes for said whoever. And then Gums Jr. again, another really athletic edge guy coming out of the SEC. I think they were able to hit home runs in the late rounds. And they're going to be a whole bunch of like guys for that defense and give you some valuable minutes rotationally if they use Dion. Even as a special teams guy, he could be a really effective special teams guy in my opinion. So I think they hit it out of the park for those late round picks, in my opinion.
Yep. I gave it a flat B. Obviously taking any Georgia or LSU defender is normally good upside for when you draft them, just to see what happens. Not having the 1st round pick due to trading for Sauce Gardner last year. Again, they were probably going to fumble the 1st round pick, so I'll give them credit for actually turning it into a corner.
I was going to say that's an upside.
That's just the upside on that one. Like you said, it's basically filling roles that they definitely needed, and that's what it was. I'm going to grab my phone for this because there's just a lot of names on this one. Holy fuck. Jacksonville. Round 2, tight end Nate Borkacher out of Texas A&M. D tackle Albert Regis out of Texas A&M. Offensive guard Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon. Round 3 safety Jalen Husky out of Maryland. Round 4 edge Wesley Williams out of Duke. Round 5 tight end Tanner Kazile out of Houston. Round 6 receiver Josh Cameron out of Baylor. Round 6 receiver CJ Williams out of Stanford. Round 7 edge Zach Durfee out of Washington. Round 7 linebacker Parker Hughes out of Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, I gave this a D. It is genuinely impressive to have this many picks and actually pick not a single person with any star potential. Nate Borkacher is like a blocker. That's like what he does. He's not a receiving tight end. That's not his like thing. And then all these guys, like, it's just a whole bunch of what are we doing? Jacksonville, I don't know what we were cooking here. I don't know if you guys thought, I don't know if Middle Tennessee State moves you. Doesn't really move me, to be honest. Don't know what we were seeing there. I don't know if you thought it'd be a great idea to take a receiver out of Stanford who is notoriously terrible at football. I don't know if that was your idea for a good time, or to take a corner out of Maryland who was also notoriously awful at football. I don't know what Jacksonville was on. Perhaps it was Hennessy. I'm not quite sure. That being said, I'm giving this a D, and the only reason why it's not lower is purely because with the amount of players that they picked, maybe 1 out of 10 of those guys will become good at football. So,
Jacksonville Jaguars equal Brooklyn Nets of NBA. That's my draft day analysis. A whole bunch of picks in the 1st round to do absolutely nothing. I'm in agreement to D.
Again, got to go back a little bit on it. Retro gave it a D minus. I'll give it a C minus, only because their 1st round pick from this year was traded to Cleveland for acquiring Travis Hunter last year. So that's the only benefit, upside, whatever you want to call it, going into it. But yeah, no, just irrelevancy after irrelevancy after irrelevancy.
Yeah.
A team that might have drafted. We're going on to the team that nobody wants to see succeed, but drafted great. They drafted great.
Of course they did.
Kansas City, round 1, Mansour Delane out of LSU. Round 1, D-tackle Peter Woods out of Clemson. Round 2, edge R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma. Round 4, corner Jaden Kennedy out of Oregon. Round 5, running back Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska. Round 5, receiver Cyrus Allen out of Cincinnati. Round 7, quarterback Garrett Nussmeier out of LSU. I hate this. Yeah. I just want to say I hate this. I hate that they.
So I gave this.
They picked so well.
Yeah, I gave him a B+. I think it was a very good draft. Firstly, never seen a guy whose first name was R before, so that is pretty cool. I looked it up. His name is actually legally R. Mason Thomas.
Yep.
So, very interesting. Secondly, yeah, this was just unfortunately objectively a good draft. They got the best corner in the draft in Mansour Delaney. They got Peter Woods, who's absolutely nasty. They got Mason Thomas. I'm not like super moved by him, but it's still a position of need because they want an edge, and so yeah, fine. Jaden Kennedy is a potential sleeper, I think, and another great corner so that him and Mansour Delaney can become their new corner duo after the Rams basically Control-C, Control-V their corner core. Emmett Johnson is kind of an epic for me, and so is Cyrus Allen. Garrett Nussmeier, even though I'm not high on him, that's objectively
good. That's a very good value pick.
Objectively speaking, like getting him in round 7 is huge. Like objectively, that's a good pick. So it's just like the Chiefs are a very competent franchise, unlike Jacksonville, and they did the right thing, unfortunately. And yeah, they picked
also,
great. So
Jules, before you go, to the guy who said on TikTok, comments on one of our videos and said that the Chiefs secondary will be just as good as the Rams this year by week 5, just you wait. You're a fucking idiot. They took your all-pro corners, and you're assuming that these rookies are going to come in and be all-pro corners without even seeing them play it down in the NFL. The delusion behind that is insane. Just be happy that your team drafted well, because this was, like I said, this is not what anybody wanted to see. Kansas City took everybody they needed perfectly.
Yeah. When we were doing our draft day like predictions for like the first round, I said that they're going to get Mansour Delane because of the Trent McDuffie stuff. So I was right. I just wasn't. I was more flabbergasted that they moved up that much higher to go and get him. So depending on like the contract value, like we were talking about with Jeremiah Love, I think Delane is probably going to earn. Like I think that's fine. But then the Peter Woods pick later in the fucking first round, and them getting him is absolutely absurd. They hit it out of the ballpark with this.
A- together.
Yeah, and literally, because Chris Jones probably has a couple years left. Peter Woods is going to then replace him, and he's going to be phenomenal. Yeah, they did absolutely everything right for a competent franchise. I don't see any negatives with this. Like even the Emmett Johnson pick, because he was getting comps to I think Isaiah Pacheco. He's just a violent runner. So, dog. I mean, sign me up. And this is what I was talking about with the Kansas City Chiefs are going to then go trend up, or because they had a down year, the Black Magic has started and started at the draft. So
yeah, not to mention getting arguably the 12th best quarterback in the 7th round is just kind of like it's a great value pick.
The Chiefs get back in the Super Bowl in a couple of years. Yeah. Yay.
Led by Garrett Nussmeier.
Yeah, true. Mahomes' successor, Garrett Nussmeier.
Also, Cleveland, we got to have a conversation because we didn't talk about it when you picked. Why are you helping the Chiefs? Why are you letting them move up? Why?
You know,
we're the Cleveland Browns.
The thing is, I guess it did go well for them, which is kind of a testament to them. But like, it's just never a good idea ever on principle to trade with the Chiefs.
You don't help the Chiefs, and you don't help teams in your division. And boy, 2026 teams did not follow those rules.
No, they did not.
Moving on to the Raiders. Round 1, yeah, whatever, cool. They took Kirk Cousins Jr. Round 2, DB Traden Stucks out of Arizona. Round 3, edge Kayron Crawford out of Auburn. Round 3, offensive guard Trey Zun III out of Texas A&M. Round 4, cornerback Jermod McCoy out of Tennessee. Round 4, running back Mike Washington Jr. out of Arkansas. Round 5, safety Dalton Johnson out of Arizona. Round 5, corner Hezekiel Masses out of Cal. Round 6, receiver Malik Benson out of Oregon. Round 7, D-tackle Brandon Cleveland out of NC State.
Yeah, so I give this one an A-. I thought they did a really good job. I think Fernando was a great pick. Obviously, that's the objectively correct one. Outside of that, I love Jermod McCoy in the 4th round. Jermod McCoy is the second best corner in this draft, probably, and the only reason why he dropped this low is because of the foot. They have a lot of injury concerns, and the surgery that he'll have to get could knock him out permanently from the NFL. If it doesn't, though, you're getting a corner who is probably the second best in the draft for a 4th round pick. Absolutely beautiful value. Some other stuff here. I think Malik Benson in the 6th round is crazy value too. I think he's excellent. You see sleeper potential there. I think they did really good addressing positions of need. I love that they drafted multiple defensive backs. I like that. Kayron Crawford, solid. Yeah, get you a defensive end, no problem there. I even like the Brandon Cleveland pick. Even though it's the last pick, I like a DT. I just think they did a really, really good job. And I think Mendoza has star potential. Jermod has star potential. I think Benson has star potential. I like what they did here, and that's why I gave him an A-. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, they got a whole bunch of culture setters to me. Like this has been the identity crisis of the Raiders for numerous years, and they objectively not only drafted teams in like areas of need, but they got guys that are going to put them in these conversations to go and be competitive in a really tough division. Now, it's slow burning. It's not they're not going to be a automatic 10-win team because Fernando or Kirk Cousins Jr. in a couple years is going to have this giant leap. But it's essentially being able to create a backbone for your defense, which they did with McCoy and Stokes. Then you have somebody who can change the pace with Tyreek Cohen Jr., with Mike Washington Jr., and you have a whole bunch of things to where you are drafting complements to then said players on both offense and defense to then protect yourself with Fernando down the line. The only thing that we've collectively famously said is they didn't get anybody out of Indiana outside of Fernando. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't get him in that comfortability of, okay, I have somebody to work with. But even if he doesn't even play snap this year per se, they can always draft somebody next year that he played with for this year. That okay, now you have a safety blanket. So they did a very, very good job in thinking for long term and setting the culture for the Raiders. So this is an A- draft.
Yeah, Mendoza. We'll see you week 6. You guys basically covered all my talking points on this one. I just want to know who the fuck woke up in the Vegas front office and decided this was going to be the greatest offseason in franchise history.
Yeah,
they did phenomenally in the pre-draft trade window and the free agent window, and now they draft excellently. Like, I don't think they're going to do anything spectacular this year or even next year, but like going forward, like they are set up to do good things. So
we could see a return of the Al Davis Raiders. Just win, baby. Let's see it.
No. Anyway, moving on to the Chargers, the regular season merchants. Round 1, edge Akeem Mesidor out of Miami. Round 2, guard Jake Slaughter out of Florida. Round 4, receiver Brendan Thompson out of Mississippi State. Round 4, offensive tackle Travis Burke out of Memphis. Round 4, safety Genesis Smith out of Arizona. Round 5, D-tackle Nick Barrett out of South Carolina. Round 6, guard Logan Taylor out of Boston College. Also round 6, guard Alex Harkley out of Oregon.
Yeah, so I give this a B-. I love the Mesidor pick. He's absolutely disgusting. No problem there. I like that they just really went super hard offensive linemen. Jake Slaughter, he can play guard and center. So let's say he plays center. Travis Burke can play your offensive tackle, and you've drafted 2 guards. I mean, essentially, they've built a whole new line. And I don't mind that at all. Obviously, you're getting the
Adding to
tackles.
adding to their 2 all-pro tackles that they have that
Right.
were last year.
Exactly. And so that's the thing is, you've got those tackles and now you've got a center and 2 guards. So, hey, there you go. I feel like that's a really good idea. I like what they're doing there. I don't really think you need to get the receiver out of Mississippi State because, like, what's really the point? Your receiving core is really good. I don't really think you have to do that. And I don't really think you need a safety either, but a defensive tackle's fine. I think overall this is an above average draft. That's why I gave it a B minus. The thing is, I don't really see much star potential here outside of Akeem Mesidor, but I just think they did a really good job covering all their bases. I think the way to put this draft is it's not a sexy draft, but it's a draft you need. It's a draft that gives you the tools that you want for the future. It's a very Jim Harbaugh draft.
Before you go, Jules, I just want to know, Retro, are you a little shocked that Mesidor fell outside the top 20?
Yes, and the only reason why is because he played with Ruben Bain, and so people are like, oh well, Ruben Bain, Aura, but no one remembers Akeem Mesidor, and Akeem Mesidor is disgusting.
Yeah, this Jim Harbaugh draft. Akeem Mesidor is going to be fantastic for them. And they drafted everything. And then safety blankets if something does happen with their all-pro tackles. Next year they got Travis Burke, who can both play right and left tackle and has decent footwork. So it's not a sexy draft. It's drafting for need, and they covered their asses very, very well. I wish that they got a corner, but it is what it is. I think it was a B minus draft.
I completely agree. This was not like you said, not a sexy draft. This was a win in the margins draft, and I think they did perfectly at that. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, Retro, we're gonna let Jules have the floor first on this one. The Los Angeles Rams. Round 1, pick 13. They took slot receiver quarterback Ty Simpson out of Alabama. Round 2, tight end Max Clare out of Ohio State. Round 3, offensive tackle Keegan Trost out of Missouri. Round 6, receiver C.J. Daniels out of Miami. Round 7, D tackle Tim Keenan III out of Alabama. Jules, say thank you. Say thank you.
Thank you for being the most arrogant fucking franchise. This is the most arrogant draft I've ever seen in my fucking life. You drafted Ty Simpson at 13 to go and not play a snap and learn over McVay. And we'll get into this because Retro has this take for it. McVay didn't even like the fucking pick. The only good pick that I think you guys really did was Max Clare. Max Clare, really underrated guy. Again, blazing my team, but it is what it is. Ty Simpson as your first overall pick. I am laughing to the fucking hills because there's no way in God's green earth that you really think that Ty Simpson's going to be the heir of Matt Stafford. Mind you, you have Jimmy Garoppolo and Stetson Bennett. So you have 4 QBs now, and one of them is going to have to leave. It's probably going to be Jimmy. Jimmy can be a starting QB anywhere else. So
Jimmy
fucking
Arizona
arrogant.
Jimmy to Arizona.
I mean, shit. If divisions are helping divisions, why the fuck not, right? So this is the most arrogant draft I've ever seen in my life. Like, you think you guys are that much? You think you're that better than everybody else that you're just gonna waste a first round pick? I hope to God you guys just burn. I'm so over this. I am over this arrogant fucking franchise.
So for me, they have my lowest grade of the draft, a D minus. The only thing that is saving them from being an F is CJ Daniels in the 6th round, because that's huge value, because I think CJ Daniels is disgusting. Outside of that, for all of the picks, I write like some notes in the margins for me, just to remind me how I feel about a person. For Ty Simpson, I wrote Lamau, because like, here's my thing, bro. I get the argument. Okay, yes, Matthew Stafford is old, very true, and he may need a replacement. Ty Simpson, who has played 15 games total in college and didn't even look good in most of them, is not your solution. There are a few quarterbacks that have played that few games, and they all end up terrible. I want to remind you guys, there was this guy, a much better physical prospect, way better physical prospect, better arm, better legs, better everything. It was this guy named Anthony Richardson. But the problem was he didn't have that many games started in college, so people didn't know if he was going to be good or not. That guy ended up being garbage, and he's an infinitely better prospect than Ty Simpson could ever dream of being. If you wanted a good quarterback prospect, wait till next year. That's when all of them are coming out. So I don't know why we wouldn't just wait until next year when you have a first-round pick to go take somebody then. That was stupid. Max Clare is just not a position of need. Even though he's a decent tight end, you just don't need him. So I don't know why. Keegan Tross is fine. You get an offensive tackle, whatever. And CJ Daniels is the steal that you guys get. Great. And I don't really care about Tim Keenan. Ultimately, it's a D- because you had 5 picks. You squandered the first round pick on Ty Simpson. Max Clare was another waste because you don't need Max Clare. Ultimately, CJ Daniels is the only thing saving this entire draft from going into the trash can. Like Joel said, this is just an arrogant draft. It's a draft of I think we're smarter, I think we're better, and in fact, we're so good that instead of using our first round pick to improve our team and get a guy like Mekhi Lemon, who would have been the perfect piece, we're going to get Ty Simpson instead, because let's plan for the future. You are a win-now team. You have an MVP quarterback. Your team is loaded. And the problem is you are not trying to win now. You're trying to win later and win now. And the problem is you can't have your cake and eat it too. You have to lock in on one or the other, and they have failed at that.
All right, well, because this was just an absolute just shit show of a draft. I didn't even rate it. I didn't care. I just stopped paying attention after Ty Simpson. I did, however, find this screenshot, and I want to read this to you guys because I think it's absolute comedy. So, analysis. Rams draft grade, B+. The Rams choose a potential successor for Matthew Stafford with the 13th overall pick, which they received from Atlanta in the 2025 draft day deal. Simpson was a one-year starter at Alabama and showed his lack of experience at times, but the team clearly thought his physical gifts and mental acuity made him worth acquiring.
What mental acuity? What mental acuity? I saw his mental acuity to throw into triple coverage. I saw his mental acuity to throw it to the other team.
Get through it because this is pretty good. Made him worth acquiring instead of trying to fill the needs at receiver and offensive tackle. Claire possesses the hands, toughness, and short area quickness to be good NFL tight end, but we'll see how he proves himself worthy of a round 2 selection. Tross' sturdiness as a pass protector could earn him a starting job in the near future. The Rams traded day 3 picks for cornerbacks Roger McCreary and Trent McDuffie. Daniels is not an elite athlete, but is a typical Rams receiver who adds needed depth, wins with toughness, and is savvy on screens. Intermediate and deep routes. They find their final pick went to a run stopper in Keenan instead of depth on the edges.
So well, hold on. How do you screw up this bad of your analysis? So Daniels, who is arguably the steal of the draft in the 6th round, isn't a good athlete, but Ty Simpson is the successor with mental acuity? What mental acuity? There's no mental acuity. He has the mental acuity.
Like I said, when I saw it, I had to just for retro.
He has the mental acuity of an artichoke. This guy literally could not.
I'm gonna pull Justin really for a sec. Ryan, for my neighbor who does watch the show, does watch the NFL stuff. Brian, you trying to sell me on this Ty Simpson pick, being the only Rams fan thinking that this is a good pick? You're an idiot. I love you, Brian. You're an idiot. Ty Simpson sucks. You're an idiot.
The guy couldn't read a field. He probably couldn't read a Dr. Seuss book, much less a field. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I love it.
He's young enough to not know who Dr. Seuss is.
You know, I would rather have Garrett Nussmeier. Truthfully, I'd rather have Garrett Nussmeier. At the very least, he's like has a higher floor.
Fact.
I'd like.
And you don't have to pay him as much.
Yeah, literally.
And Garrett Nussmeier was a 7th round pick, by the way, and Ty Simpson was a first round.
That's the other thing, is that they have to pay him first round pick money, and he's not going to get you a snap, and then he's going to be your 4th QB behind Jimmy and fucking Bennett.
Bro, they really think they're the Packers. I swear to you, they think they're the Packers. I'm like, bro, you don't just develop.
Hey, Retro, goodness. You now know why I hate the Rams so fucking much? Because it's this. It's literally this. And then they're going to tell me that they're all this world beaters and all this kind of stuff, and then choke against us or choke against the Panthers. Like, arrogant ass franchise.
Meanwhile, moving on. Retro,
Yeah,
like I said,
please move me to
I
a
saw it.
please.
I saw it, and I saw the mental acuity, and I was like, Retro's gonna have a field day.
Just move me to a good draft. Thank you. Appreciate
All
it.
right,
Thank God.
moving on to Miami. Round 1, offensive tackle Caden Proctor out of Alabama. Round 1, corner Chris Johnson out of San Diego State. Round 2, linebacker Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech. Round 3, receiver Caleb Douglas out of Texas Tech. Round 3, tight end Will Jules. How do you say his last name? Kasamaric out of Ohio.
Kamaric, yeah.
Kamaric. Round 3, receiver Chris Bell out of Louisville. Round 4, linebacker Trey Moore out of Texas. Round 4, linebacker Kyle Lewis out of Pittsburgh. Round 5, safety Michael Taff out of Texas. Round 5, receiver Kevin Coleman, because Coleman's paying all his receivers in the NFL, out of Missouri. Round 5, tight end Seydou Traore out of Mississippi State. Round 6, guard DJ Campbell out of Texas. Round 7, edge Max Laywell out of Iowa.
Yes.
Holy picks.
This is beautiful. Thank you, Miami, for showing LA how to do a draft. Thank you. I appreciate
significantly more picks.
So, yeah, and that as well. So the first thing, I'll rip the Band-Aid off. A lot of people have a problem with the Proctor pick because he's notoriously lazy and he eats a lot of food. The thing is, like, it just, I don't think that it'll matter. I think when he gets to the league, I think he's going to lock in. You got money on the line. There's a lot more at stake. And he didn't need to really be overly...
It's Eddie Lacy time.
Or that, but the thing is, he didn't need to really be overly involved in the gym because it didn't matter because he was running through people, so it wasn't really a problem. I think it's fine. I don't mind it. Chris Johnson is a phenomenal corner. Like this guy is absolutely amazing. I think the only reason why he didn't get put in higher cornerback talks, because you could make the argument he's better than Mansour Delaney. I've seen the arguments made, and I think you could. I wouldn't, but I could see the argument being made. He's just nasty. The only reason why he hasn't been talked about is because he plays for San Diego State. Jacob Rodriguez, the guy was a Heisman finalist. Like, I understand people have problems that he's a little undersized. Whatever, bro. He's a Heisman finalist, and he showed that he can compete. As far as the rest of this stuff, honestly, just great. You're filling in positions of need. I think Chris Bell is an amazing pick. I think he has potential star potential, I should say. I think he's really, really good. All of this is great. I love it. I like that they also had a specific route. They drafted 5 guys from Texas, 3 Texas guys, 2 Texas Tech guys. I guess they really just wanted to feed off of that Texas energy. I don't know what that was about, but sure. Yeah, I mean,
culture.
Yeah, honestly, beautiful. Like I said, I forgot to give a grade for this. I gave it an A. I think this is one of the best drafts that we've seen. I think this is great, and I love it. And there's so many picks here, and way to go, Dolphins.
Yeah, I had this as the sleeper win of the draft. Like, Miami did so good. I think both Bell and Douglas are going to be the replacements for Waddle, but they have such a star potential in my eyes. Again, you talked about Proctor. I'm higher on Proctor. I don't really give a fuck that he eats a whole bunch of food. I think Proctor is going to be decent. And then even if he doesn't work out, Chris Johnson, Jacob Rodriguez, just great, just good athletes. As for the Texas stuff, because I was saying it, we were saying it a little bit before with Fernando and Indiana, is that Quinn Ewers played at Texas. He's playing for Miami. And he has a possibility to go in and play significant reps for this team. So they go and get a whole bunch of guys that he played with to make him feel comfortable. Because that is where I think Miami's going to go. Even though Quinn Ewers is flawed, whatever. But if he's going to get significant reps, go get him guys that he played with. Go get guys that he played against in the SEC. Go get him offensive linemen that he played with, so on and so forth. So it's it's a clear decision that Miami is finally competent, and it's hey, we're having to go and play against Buffalo, who's clearly don't know what the fuck they're doing, and then the Patriots, who are on an incline. Our only competition's the fucking Jets, who also had a really good draft, and we'll get to that soon enough. But it's the Jets are a fucking dog. They're in the garbage can. We're in this state of mediocrity. We need to go and get out of the mediocrity. So they did everything that they needed to do. This is I have this as an A. I think it's the sleeper of the draft.
And
Yes.
the best part of it is, for me, is they traded down one spot, 2 spots to get 2 5th-round picks and turned them into players that are probably going to be used for their team. Because they knew they weren't going to take Caleb Downs. They're like, oh, if we just trade down a little bit, we're still going to get our guy, and they did. So, like I said, phenomenal job by Miami. We can't say it enough. I mean, good for them. Moving on to Minnesota. Round 1, D lineman Caleb Banks out of Florida. Round 2, linebacker Jake Galladay out of Cincinnati. Round 3, D tackle Dominique Orange out of Iowa State. Round 3, offensive tackle Caleb Tiernan out of Northwestern. Round 3, safety Jacoby Thomas out of Miami. Round 5, fullback Max Bredesen out of Michigan. Round 5, cornerback Charles Demings out of Stephen F. Austin, wherever the fuck that is. Round 6, running back Desmond Claiborne out of Wake Forest. Round 7, center Gavin Gebhardt out of Cincinnati.
Yeah, well, I'm back to the B minuses here. I think this is a solid draft, above average. I think Caleb Banks is really good. I think Jake Golday can be good. I think Damon Claiborne is a huge sleeper. He was absolutely nasty at Wake Forest. I think some of that will transfer to the NFL. Outside of that, they kind of just positions of need, defensive tackle, offensive tackle, center. I like that, built through the trenches. I don't mind that at all. Again, not really a sexy draft, but they're building through the trenches, building in the margins. I don't mind that whatsoever. Like I said, it's a B minus. I think it's above average. I don't think it's a sexy draft, but I think it does what you want it to do. I like it.
This might be a hot take, but I think this is like a C minus D plus, because the Caleb Banks stuff, the injury stuff, everybody's really concerned with that because of the broken foot. And so the explosiveness that he had is going to then hinder what he's going to do for that Minnesota defense on that front line. And then the Galladay pick. Let's talk about it, because we're talking about, like, we mentioned positional value and where they are in the draft and all that kind of stuff. He was picked before C.J. Allen and Emmanuel Warren that we loved for Cleveland and Indy. And they chose a guy out of Cincinnati defensively that isn't Sauce Gardner. So it's like
that isn't Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, it's meh. It's really, really meh. Yeah, it's very meh to me. Like, and then they drafted. We talked about the fullback, the homeboy that's going to replace C.J. Ham, who retired this year. What? Like, I like what? There's just a lot, like,
from a game that's gone away. From a game that's gone away from fullbacks, seeing a fullback get drafted is weird.
Yeah, no, it's weird, and it's like I'm not even trying to shit on fullbacks, because, like, I love fullbacks. If I, like, in high school, I should have been a fucking fullback. I love fullbacks. But in terms of...
just clipped right there. Y'all are offensive linemen, bro. I'm telling you, you just got clipped.
Yeah.
No. We no.
I'm a fullback, dog. I don't give a fuck.
I'm a D lineman through and through, bro. Don't associate me with the O line.
Meet me in the A gap.
It's just like a lot of this stuff. I'm like, what? What? It's just mid.
It's just a confusing draft. I'll be honest. It's like I said, I feel like they didn't have an identity picks for these drafts, and it was just they went with what they thought they needed. So I have no notes for this. It's just confusing.
Yeah. It's just blah to me. It's just blah.
Yep. Moving on to the New England Patriots. Round 1, offensive tackle Caleb Lamau out of Utah. Round 2, edge Gabe Yakas out of Illinois. Round 3, tight end Eli Raridan out of Notre Dame. Round 5, corner Katron Prunty out of Wake Forest. Round 6, offensive tackle Demetrius Brownover out of Texas A&M. Round 6, linebacker Nnamdi Obizar out of TCU. Round 7, QB Baron Morton out of Texas Tech. Round 7, running back Jam Miller out of Alabama. Round 7, edge Quintavious Hutchinson out of Boston College.
Yeah, I give this one a C plus. I think it's slightly above average. I think that Lomu is a great pick to protect Drake May. Um, I like Gabe Jackas. I think he's also a solid defensive end. He's good. And then for me, it's just like and then it gets to round 7, and actually, I think they did a pretty good job here because I think Jam Miller is a big sleeper guy. I think he could be a really, really good running back. And I also like Contavious Hutchins a lot. But ultimately, it kind of just feels like rounds 3 through like 6, they just kind of like didn't really do anything that I really care about that much. Like I said, I still think it's an above average draft. I just feel like they could have done more, especially given the fact that they had 9 picks. But yeah, I think it's solid.
I think this is like funny enough. You're talking about a Jim Harbaugh draft with Mike Vrabel with what's happening. I think this is a kind of a Mike Vrabel draft, just like solid guys throughout everywhere of positions of need. The Lomo pick is going to be the replacement of the terrorist Will Campbell, and definitely move him to guard because the arm stuff. And essentially, some of like the mid-round picks where New England has notoriously got value everywhere through the mid-rounds. It's kind of like I could see, like the defensive guys that they got out of TCU and Wake Forest. I'm going to try to pronounce their names. Get some decent value on this defense and get some reps. So I think it's very, very solid. I had this as a B.
Yeah, I think it's a B plus draft. I think New England basically copycatted their draft from last year. They're really trying to draw attention to that offensive line and trying to figure out with what worked this year, with what they did in the draft last year, what they could bolster on for that point to give Mac a little more time to do his thing in the back. Funnily enough, though, Jam Miller in the 7th round was the running back they chose. I feel like they should have been a little higher on maybe a better running back prospect, just with all the ball security issues that their running backs had last year. So that's just my only really talking point on that is their running backs were so inconsistent last year that maybe giving a young guy a chance might be the idea. I mean, Trey was good but not great last year for them, but Ramondre definitely shouldn't be in their backfield. That's just my personal opinion.
Mm.
Moving on to Retro's new favorite team, the New Orleans Saints.
Yes.
Round 1, receiver Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. Round 2, D-tackle Christian Miller out of Georgia. Round 3, tight end Oscar Delp out of Georgia. Round 4, offensive guard Jeremiah Wright out of Auburn. Round 4, receiver Bryce Lance out of North Dakota State. Round 5, safety Lorenzo Styles Jr. out of Ohio State. Round 6, kick returner Barian Brown out of LSU. And round 7, corner TJ Hall out of Iowa.
Oops. So, I rarely go into extremes. I only have 2 A pluses in this draft, 0 Fs. This is one of my A pluses. I think this was a perfect draft. As far as I'm concerned, Jordan Tyson is a beautiful pick. You need to give him to Shuck because Shuck needs a number 1. Him and Olave can be like 1A, 1B. I love it. Kristen Miller, he's a defensive player out of Georgia. Sign me up immediately, and it's a position of need because basically everything is a position of need for the Saints. Oscar Delp, awesome tight end. No problem there either. I love that. Jeremiah Wright, yes, get Shuck protection. Absolutely, no question, no problem. Bryce Lance, give him another receiver. Why not? Fill that receiver room up. I love that too. You got to keep giving Shuck as many weapons as possible. Lorenzo Styles, Sonny Styles' brother, they both have insane athleticism. Lorenzo Styles is a great pick in a great value spot. He is absolutely a sleeper. Barion Brown, he is labeled as a kick returner. I know him better as an absolutely electric receiver with insane amounts of speed. I think he can be one of the best kick returners in the league. I also think he can be a really good receiver if utilized correctly. And again, just another weapon in that room. And finally, they end it with TJ Hall, a corner, which I love. You want corners. Always a great idea to have. This draft, to me, every single pick was great. Even though they had 8 picks, not a single one was wasted. They took picks at great value every single time. This is a perfect draft. I'm floored by how well the Saints did here.
Couldn't agree more. I just couldn't agree more. This is fantastic that New Orleans had done this again. You're basically they needed fucking everything. So like
Yeah.
everything could be looked at as a positive, but then the guys that they got at said positions are really just all good athletes. Again, I'm going to emphasize, I love athletes. Everywhere that they went, just positive, positive, positive. Getting Jordan Tyson to pair with Chris Olave, and if Tyler Shuck is going to be the guy, that's a great pairing. Being able to get Oscar Delp out of Georgia, fantastic. Getting Lorenzo Styles Jr., fantastic. Love him at Ohio State. Jeremiah Wright, really good guard coming out of Auburn. TJ Hall, who, mind you, out of Iowa, but still really good athlete coming out of there. Everywhere that they went is just like positive, 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 out of the park. Everything. The only thing that we're going to have to look for now, because they also traded for homeboy Tyree Wilson, I believe, from the Raiders, who they did on draft day for a 7th rounder. That is completely a plus. So you did everything to beat a 5th rounder. I'm sorry, but they basically got everything of need, and they got better with Tyree Wilson going to be a really underrated guy. And I like Tyree Wilson. So everything that they did was an absolute plus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with Retro here, but I'm giving it an A+ with an asterisk, and here's why. Jordan Tyson needs to stay healthy for this to be a perfect draft.
Yes.
He fought a lot of injuries last year at ASU. If he can stay healthy in his rookie year and stay healthy in his career, this is 100% an A+ draft.
Yep, I agree.
Moving on to the New York Football Giants. Round 1, Arvell Reese out of Ohio State. Round 1, tackle Francis Marigoa out of Miami. Round 2, corner Colton Hood out of Tennessee. Round 3, receiver Malachi Fields out of Notre Dame. Round 6, D-tackle Bobby Jamison-Travis out of Auburn. Round 6, offensive guard J.C. Davis. And round 6, linebacker Jack Kelly out of BYU.
So, my division rivals. I said that I gave out 2 A+ in this draft, back-to-back. So, let's go through it. Arvell Reese is a beautiful pick.
Let's go through how Retro hates that his division did so much better than he did.
I do. Well, actually, we'll get to my team, but I don't think we did too bad either.
So much better.
But I think we did better than Cowboys. But anyways, as far as the Giants are concerned, Arvell Reese.
Did you get Caleb Downs? I don't think so.
Arvell Reese is an amazing pick, no question. Francis Maligoa is an amazing pick, no question. Colton Hood, very, very solid pick. Obviously opposite Jermod McCoy. Both of them very, very good corners, no question. Malachi Fields, I know firsthand how good he is because before he was a Notre Dame Fighting Irish, he was a Virginia Cavalier, and while he was with my team, he was absolutely unbelievable. I can't say enough good things about Malachi Fields, and unfortunately, it is going to be really unfortunate when my team has to go against a Malik Neighbors Malachi Fields deep threat duo. Not looking forward to that.
You're just lucky it's not those two and Wan'Dale Robinson.
That's also true. Bobby Jamison-Travis, defensive tackle, perfect, like it, love it, position of need. J.C. Davis, yeah, get another guy to protect Jackson Dart, no question. And then to end with a linebacker, I like that too. Just keep bolstering that already very solid defense. Again, this is another one, just like the Saints, I don't think they wasted a single pick. And when you only have 7 picks, you have to make sure you don't waste them. And I think they did a perfect job.
The winners of the NFL Draft.
Yeah,
your New York Football Giants getting the in my opinion the best guy coming out of the draft in Arvell Reese. The fact that he fell to 5, unbelievable. And then
holy fumble by Arizona, by the way.
Holy fumble. And then I got they got some shit for getting Francis Maligoa because their offensive line was actually surprisingly good last year. I think just bolstering that and making that even better to protect Jackson Dart and to give a run game to Cam Scatterboo or whoever's going to be the running back is tremendous. And then, like you said, Colton Hood, who's outside of McCoy, fantastic. So everything that they did for the first three picks, fantastic. And then Malachi Fields. Malachi Fields, a fantastic guy cut out of Notre Dame, another raw athlete that I love. They did nothing but good. Even like the late round picks are kind of like whatever. Jack Kelly's cool out of Mormon University BYU, but it's essentially like John Harbaugh came into this system, it came into this organization, and just like this is how we're going to do shit, and they just absolutely knocked it out of the park. Just fantastic. They're going to, again, winners of the draft in my opinion.
This is an A+ for me, and I'll tell you right now, if somehow, some way, some world would have happened where Sonny would have fell down to that 10 pick, this would have had to have been an S tier, and it would have been like not even close.
Literally.
That would have been a world beater draft. Like Sonny gets picked, oh well, our alternate pick, let's bolster our offensive line. Most perfect pivot I've ever seen out of a team on draft night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who made them pivot?
Huh?
Who made them pivot? Who was that?
I don't know, but again, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No.
Well, to like knock it just a little bit, even if they didn't get Malgoa at 10, you could have gotten Caleb. You could have gotten Caleb.
And I would have. That's literally the only hit I put on that is they should have, because pairing Arvell Reese and Kevin Downs.
And that's fine. We already saw what they were able to do in Ohio State, but like even so, like it's fine. Like if you didn't want Caleb there, you have Malgoa, which is still an A+. Regardless, it's like I would have gotten Caleb personally, but I'm not mad at it.
Right. That, like I said, it was a phenomenal draft. They 100%
so now we've got
the draft.
JETS, Jets.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Round 1, edge David Bailey. Round 1, tight end Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. Round 1, receiver Omar Cooper Jr. out of Indiana. Round 2, corner D'Angelo Pons out of Indiana. Round 4, D-tackle Daryl Jackson out of Florida State. Round 4, quarterback Cade Klubnik out of Clemson. Round 6, Anze Coop, Miami. Round 7, safety VJ Payne out of Kansas State. Who from the Jets listens to our podcast?
Yeah,
Who from the Jets listens to our podcast?
Because KD listens to us and the Jets listen to us.
These motherfuckers acted like they drafted Mendoza.
Literally. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, both teams from New York made it out with A grades. I gave the Jets an A-. I still think it's a very, very, very good draft. David Bailey, of course, phenomenal player. Kenyon Sadiq, best tight end in the draft. Omar Cooper, super good receiver, phenomenal. D'Angelo Pons, again, another Indiana kid, amazing corner. I'm huge on D'Angelo Pons. I think Daryl Jackson's kind of eh. I don't mind the Cade Klubnik pick. Realistically, you're the Jets, bro. You ain't got nothing at quarterback. And, Cade Klubnik's, like, kind of terrible, but I don't know. He might be the best quarterback you have. Who knows? Like, might as well, right?
Right.
Inez Cooper, sure, draft a guard, that's fine. I mean, that's solid. And I think VJ Payne's kind of like an pick for me. But ultimately, I think you've got 4 guys here with superstar potential in the first 4 that you picked. And then after that, I think, it's solid elsewhere. And like I said, I kind of like Cade Klubnik. I mean, I think he might give Gino a kind of a run for his money, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I don't mind it whatsoever.
Not to mention how much of a sleeper pick VJ Payne out of Kent State really is in the 7th round.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I'm in agreement. I actually say I'm actually a little bit higher on Darnell Jackson than like a lot of people. I think there's 5 guys that could be superstar potential. I'm a Cade Klubnik hater. I'll just come out and say that I do not like Cade at all. Fuck Clemson.
I don't either. I agree with you, Jules. I think he's pretty bad, but
so it's like
it's a better value pick than picking Ty Simpson.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like you
all day.
And like you said, he'll give Geno Smith a run for his money. It's Geno Smith. So it's like it's dog shit it's a left cheek, right cheek. Like who cares? But like everything that they did, they are definitely again. Hey, ESPN, pick us up. Because if the Jets are listening to us, if KD listens to us, I don't know who else listens to us. It's just burners everywhere at this point.
Jason Kidd with Cooper Flag? Yeah, somebody. Burner after burner after burner.
Tune in, bro.
But I will say, I like the David Bailey pick. Another guy that they have there is Will McDonald Jr. He played at the crosstown rival high school of me a couple years after. So pairing two young freak athletes together as your edge rushers, as long as they can continue to develop and work, like the Jets' defense is going to be good. Their offense is going to be
Fair.
So I'm intrigued to see what the Jets do going forward. Can we skip this one?
It's one pick. It's literally one pick.
Yeah, it's literally one pick. It still hurts.
Hey, yeah. Right. You want to get on the phone and talk about it? You want to get on the phone and talk about it?
Well, let's just talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, the best interception that they've had in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Round 1 receiver Makai Lemon out of USC. Rams, you're still fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Round 2 tight end Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt. Round 3 offensive tackle Markel Bell out of Miami. Round 5 quarterback Cole Payton out of North Dakota State. Arguably the replacement. Round 6 offensive guard Micah Morris out of Georgia. Round 7 safety Cole Wisniewski out of Texas Tech. Round 7 D tackle Uar Bernard out of the IPP program.
Yes.
Round 7 edge Keyshawn James Newby out of New Mexico. Can someone enlighten me on what the IPP program is?
And I will do that. So I gave the Eagles a B- for this draft. So I'll start with Uar Bernard. So basically, this guy is a prospect from Nigeria. He has never played football. So IPP is the international something pathway. But basically, you take athletes, like freak athletes from all over the world, and you train them. And so this guy has never played a snap of football.
So this is some Serge Ibaka shit.
Yeah, basically. But so the reason why they picked him, he's 305 pounds on 6% body fat. So basically, he's just a freak. He runs. So the other thing is,
I'm sorry. Hold on. What did you just say?
Yeah. He never ran a 40 in his life. They had him put his hand in the dirt and tell him to run a 40, and he ran a 4.6 at 305 pounds. So they were like. They were like, yeah, bro, yeah, why not? So
the running back, Saquon who?
Yeah, so ultimately, Howie saw this, and he was like, who cares that he's never played football a down in his life? We're going to take him. And knowing Howie, this guy is probably going to become like the future of the NFL.
What do you mean? You've never played football in your life? You're playing D tackle. Hit this hole and take everybody with you.
I agree with you, by the way. 4.6 40 at 300 pounds, yeah.
Holy shit.
And I think he also had like an insane vert and broad.
I want to know what his generated force is.
Yeah, honestly. So I think that was a good pick for obvious reasons. I think the Makai Lemon pick was great. I think the Eli Stowers pick was great. Outside of that, honestly, I'm just looking at a bunch of mid. I think Bell is mid. I don't even know why you take Peyton because, like, I get the Jalen Hurts meme, but, like, bro, it's a quarterback from North Dakota State. Last time we had a quarterback from North Dakota State was Trey Lance, so, that worked out really well.
He was good for a little bit.
Yeah, Micah Morris is mid. Cole Wisniewski, I mean, honestly, like Keyshawn James Newby, really like the Eagles only had 3 good picks here, and that's why I have it at a B-. But there's a part of me that thinks that Uar Bernard is about to become like one of the craziest players we've ever seen because of just his pure freak athleticism. I was okay. So here's his measurables. So he's 6'4", he's 306 pounds, 4'6", 40, 36-inch arms, 11-inch hands, and a 39-inch vertical. Because I guess why not? All at the low body fat of 6%. So
what?
I don't know. He's just a freak. I don't know. Like this guy. I don't know.
I had to look into this, and again, being from Philly, like knowing Howie, he does such a good job in doing like international talent, the Mailata stuff, the Vitae stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say real quick, Jules, just to add to that, Justin, the last guy they got through the IPP was Jordan Mailata. So
yeah, literally, that's why I said the Mailata stuff is that he does such a good job of being able to internationally scout these guys that are just absurdly obnoxious, just like raw, just pause. Like, whatever. Yeah, Uer's going to be fucking fantastic. Again, LOL meme, Malachi Lemon should have been a Steeler. LOL, Coke Justin. So the other thing with the Cole Payton stuff, we talked about Trey Lance. The reason why Howie has such an German with North Dakota State because of Carson Wentz, and he has this just like North Dakota State, this D2 kind of like, oh, they give you good QB prospects. He always just beats himself off for that shit. I never understood why, but Eli Stowers is like going to be the replacement for Dallas. So okay, cool, getting that there, but you didn't do anything that moved me on your offensive line. Again, Markel Bell, I don't think is going to be anything great, and Morris isn't going to be necessarily anything great. So it's like, should have done a little bit more with the offensive line because of how that's looking. Big question marks there. But I'll give this like a C+.
Moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wait, real quick before we do that, because there was another thing that I wanted to say about Edouard Bernard because I was looking into it a little bit more. He also has a broad jump of 10 feet and 10 inches, which I don't even understand. And I know you guys know about RAS score, which is like judging an athlete's pure athleticism. He has a perfect 10. He has the greatest pure athleticism score of any defensive tackle to ever play football. And I'm scared.
Thank God he's in your division.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, but you have Drew Aller now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Round one, offensive Max Inhana. Thanks. Oh. Yeah. Offensive tackle Max Inhanacher out of Arizona State. Round two, receiver Jeremy. Shut the fuck up. Jeremy Bernard out of Alabama. Round three, corner Dalen Everton out of Georgia. Round three, guard.
Wait, I think you skipped somebody on
round
that.
Three, guard Jennings Dunker out of Iowa. Round four, receiver Caden Wetjen out of Iowa. Round five, tight end Riley Nowakowski out of Indiana. Round six, defensive end Gabe Rubio out of Notre Dame. Round seven, safety Robert Spears Jennings out of Oklahoma. Round seven, running back Eli Hendrich out of Navy.
There's one more guy that I have here on the list that I think you forgot to.
Yeah, I
to
think
say.
you skipped him.
He's from your state.
Not from his state.
Well, no, from the Pittsburgh state.
The Pittsburgh state. Pittsburgh being a state now.
Yeah, well, no, from
He
Pennsylvania.
just grade the fucking thing already.
Yeah, I'll just rip the Band-Aid off. I gave it a D+. This draft was not it, unfortunately. Max, I like the pick. That's a great pick. Eli Heidenreich, I actually think is the steal of the draft, so shout out to you guys for that, because he's low-key like a CMC clone. Like, this kid is actually, like, disgusting. Outside of that, Jeremy Bernard, I think, was a reach. For Drew Aller, the only thing that I wrote here for the notes is why? Like, I'm just confused, to be honest, because Will Howard is a better quarterback in every way. So I don't know why they felt the need to go get Drew Aller in the third round. I guess Dalen Everett's also a W because he's a corner from Georgia, so, he's going to be good at football. But outside of this, bro, like, I don't even know most of these guys. I don't know why you decided to take two people from Iowa, to be honest, but I guess. Both offensive guys, despite the fact that Iowa is notorious
at least
for having...
one's a lineman.
Yeah, there you go. You guys had 11 picks or 10 picks, and actually managed to do almost nothing with most of them, unfortunately.
Thanks.
Sorry about that. I just had to rip the Band-Aid off. That's a D+. Jules, you go ahead.
Thanks. Buddy. Yeah, no, Jules doesn't get to laugh either. Anyway.
I don't fucking laugh. Drew Aller. Drew fucking Aller.
There's only one good athlete that goes to Penn State, and it's Gavin McKenna, who's projected to be the number one pick in the NHL draft. So,
and also they're two running backs.
Yeah, whatever. Retro, I'm reading you this because it's comical, and you guys can just laugh at me more. NFL draft grade A-. With Broderick Jones' future in flux, he's attempting to recover from a neck injury and nearly and near at the end of his rookie contract, losing out on receiver Mekhi Lemon could prove to be a blessing in disguise if the physical, quick-footed Iheanacho keeps
blessing in disguise.
Yeah, and Bernard's strength, route running, and skills and elusiveness can give him a chance to be just as good as Lemon in the long run. Pittsburgh used the third-round pick to receive from Dallas in exchange for George Pickens to select Aller, who was coming off an injury and did not have a day two-worthy film, but certainly the physical tools to be an NFL starter. Everett was not a consistent performer last year either, but like Aller, has the tools to start at the next level. Dunker was an excellent value and late in the third round, projecting a long-time interior starter because of his short area quickness and nasty attitude. Pittsburgh Stags top returner in the draft to replace Kenneth Gainwell and Calvin Austin III. Don't be surprised if Wedgen earns playing time in that slot as well. Nowakowski can replace departed free agent Connor Hayward as a receiving/blocking back. This season, Steelers overlooked Rubio's lack of productivity in his injury history with the Irish to add his bulk to the defensive line. They need some help at safety on special teams, and they found a top 150 value pick in Speedy Spears-Jennings. The welcome that the Steelers crowd gave to Heinrich, a Navy star and Pittsburgh native, was one of the weekend's best moments.
Yeah, so Jeremy Bernard is going to have tools to be better than Mekhi Lemon. Right. And Drew Aller apparently has tools. That's new to me, to be honest with you.
That's about it.
I'll be honest. I don't know, man. Listen, I have watched Drew Aller play football, especially in the fourth quarter, and I'll be honest with you, he may be the only human being without a brain. There's a possibility.
I can't wait for Will Howard to just fucking meme the shit out of him in that locker room. I just can't wait for that interaction.
By the way,
just can't wait.
It's still a better value pick than Ty Simpson.
Still, yeah, we're laughing about it. We're trolling. He's still better than Ty Simpson.
Bro, there you go, Justin. We can move on so Jules can laugh more. Actually,
the San Francisco 49ers did not have a first-round pick. Round 2, receiver Dazon Stribling, Mississippi. Round 3, edge Romello Height out of Texas Tech. Round 3, running back Kalen Block, Indiana. Round 4, D-tackle Grayson Halton, Oklahoma. Round 4, guard Carver Willis out of Washington. Round 4, corner Ephus Presock out of Washington. Round 5, linebacker Jaden Duggar out of Louisiana. Round 5, offensive tackle Enrique Cruz out of Kansas.
Yeah.
So I give a D-, but Jules, do you want to go first, or you can?
I can talk about how this is an absolute F, and the fact that the San Francisco 49ers are also a clown for this fucking dumbass shit that they did, because you traded not once, but twice down in the first round, because you heavily needed a whole bunch of stuff to go and help that very aching defense, and you drafted a wide receiver in the second round. That wasn't he hurt? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he have injury history out of Mississippi? Retro? Am I tripping?
Say again?
Stripling. Doesn't he have injury history?
He might, but I know that he's like a freak athlete. So that's actually the only pick that I like from them.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, that's the only one that I have as some side, but you drafted him over Denzel Boston, who I just have a better wide receiver. So everything that you did, fucking stupid. This is the only F I have in this whole thing, because you did absolutely fucking nothing. You drafted another running back to back up CMC when he gets hurt, when there's no more blood rituals left. You got an edge. Cool. That's great. Doesn't have a whole bunch of upside because David Bailey and the other homeboy in Texas Tech was getting just way more production. Everything you did was just stupid. Stupid. And this is not even trying to be biased. It's just dumb.
Yeah, I basically echo all that, besides Stribling. Yeah. The only thing that I'll say is, they were talking about the blood rituals. They tried to embrace Satan, and that did not work. So this time they're going towards God by drafting a guy named Ephesians, which is, of course, a book in the Bible. And Never in my life have I heard of a person named Ephesians, but today is the day. So I guess the 49ers have decided to embrace God. But unfortunately, I guess they kind of forgot how to draft along the way. Because who in God's green earth is Grayson Halton? Not sure. Kalen Black in the third round? You're taking Indiana's running back in the third round. Indiana's running back. Because Indiana's a notoriously good running team last year. That's what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. That's a smart, that's a huge pickup. Love that.
Well, since I had to read my team, Jules, be prepared to belly laugh. San Francisco grade from this analyst. A-.
All right.
Ready? Are you ready? San Francisco wisely traded down twice in the first round to improve its stockpile of mid-round draft capital. Stribling should meet the Niners' need at receiver because of his size and speed combination and ability to make big plays after the catch. But we'll see if Jeremy Bernard, chosen 47th overall, or Denzel Boston, chosen 39th overall, have more productive careers. They added veteran pass rushing Osa Ighodua via trade with their original third-round pick. They acquired 2 more third-round pick choices to select and lead more explosive pass rusher in height and a tough, quick, productive runner in Black who can give Christian McCaffrey a break. Halton was a very good value pass rushing tackle early in the 4th round, even after the trade of Ighodua. The Niners found offensive line depth on day 3, as well as in Willis, a versatile tackle guard, and Cruz, an athletic pass protector. The tall, athletic, raw Prysock will be a worthy 5th-round pick.
That's the dumbest shit.
Of course, the notorious Kalen Black giving Christian McCaffrey a break. Yeah, of course. True. Big and true. Thank God they drafted somebody to give Christian McCaffrey a break.
Because he hasn't had a break like the last 4 years of his career or anything.
Yeah, literally. Thank God. Ladies, hey, Christian McCaffrey, we're good.
We're good.
Kalen Black is here. We're good. We're good.
I again, 2 of just very arrogant drafts from 2 shitty franchises. That's the bias that I'm coming out. I think that the Rams stuff is arrogant. This San Francisco is just brain dead. John Lynch, you're an idiot, dog. You're an idiot.
Yeah, no. This is forever evidence that John Lynch was carried by Adam Peters, because as soon as Adam Peters leaves his football team, this guy forgets how to draft.
Literally.
Moving on to Seattle.
Here we go.
Round 1, running back Jadarian Price out of Notre Dame. Round 2, safety Bud Clark out of TCU. Round 3, corner Julian Neal out of Arkansas. Round 5, offensive guard Bo Steffens out of Iowa. Round 6, receiver Emmanuel Henderson Jr. out of Kansas. Round 7, corner Andre Fuller out of Toledo. Round 7, D-tackle Devin Eastern out of Minnesota. Round 7, corner Michael Dansby out of Arizona.
Yeah, so I gave your boys a B. I think this is just a very solid draft. I think Jadarian Price could be a bit of a reach, but I still think he'll be good. It's like a tentative W, you know? It's like a W, but like kind of waiting on to see what that becomes.
The K9 replacement.
Yeah. Bud Clark, I'm big on. Jules and I agree on this. I think he's a really good safety. I think that you guys ended up getting 3 corners. I like that. I get why you guys are trying to keep this the dark side defense going, and you lose a lot of guys in free agency. That's fine. So you replace them. I'm fine with that. Even get yourself a DT. That's cool. Why not? I like Bo Stevens. He's a guard. Played for Iowa. Enough said. Should be fine. No problem. We'll figure it out. And overall, like, just a very solid draft. That's why I have it to be. It's just very good. I'm cool with it.
Do you want to go, Justin, before I go?
Nope, I got nothing to say. You guys drafted basically just stockpile players. You literally played for depth.
Yeah, I have this slightly lower because of B-. Again, Jadarian Price could go either way as the replacement for K9, and once Zach Charbonnet comes back for his ACL, we'll see the dynamic there. Bud Clark, I'm in agreement. He's going to be the Kobe Bryant replacement, and he's an athletic guy out of TCU, so we'll see how he's being used in this dark side defense and how he's going to work with Nick Amenwari. The biggest upside pick in this draft is because fucking Bo Stevens is replacing Anthony Bradford. Anthony Bradford does not need to be a terrorist for my team anymore. I don't need to see Anthony Bradford get starting stuff. And he's, like we said,
guard, and probably got the most excited he's ever heard in his entire life.
Outside of Gray Zabel from last year, but like still, I'm like, oh my god, Anthony Bradford, fucking, thank God. So yeah, no, I have this as B minus only because we weren't getting pass rushers. That's something that I really wanted to need because you can't have enough pass rushers on a team that constantly pressures the QB. So I much rather have us got that instead of corners. But I understand. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
Moving
on to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, arguably a top 5 draft out of what happened this week. Number 1, edge Ruben Bain Jr. out of Miami. Round 2, linebacker Josiah Trotter out of Missouri. Round 3, receiver Ted Hurst out of Georgia State. Round 4, DB Keontae Scott out of Miami. Round 5, D-tackle DeMonte Capehart out of Clemson. Round 5, guard Billy Schroth out of Notre Dame. Round 6, tight end Billy Sharp, LSU.
Yeah.